Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Well, good Saturday morning to all of my beautiful coffee beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're going to be talking about Nancy Guthrie. Come on in, sit on down. We've got a lot of information to go over. And Karen, I hope your hand is feeling better. I'm hearing that nerve blocker wore off. Bet you're wishing you weren't typing last night, huh, lady?
Make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We are covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandma, ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman. And we're learning today that Tucson, which we've been reporting since covering this case, is in danger, folks. It's in danger. According to the sheriff himself, this guy could strike at any time, potentially. They don't know who this guy is. They say, hey, we think we got a motive. I think we know why he did this. But hey, we can't protect the whole world. So y'all in danger, folks. This guy could strike again. Not good messaging from Pima County Sheriff's Department or the Sheriff, Chris Nanos. But that is the story that we are getting today. We're learning that there has been some new images that were proffered from those cameras around Nancy Guthrie's house, but we're hearing no videos, just still images, just thumbprints, thumbnails, still images. So, again, less promising news. Promising news, though, is that the DNA is now undergoing this separation. If you guys remember, we do have DNA inside the home. The DNA is a mixture. The DNA was mixture with several people, and unfortunately, they're not able, this is not going to be an easy process. We are hearing now that this process is finally underway to start separating those DNAs and trying to identify them. We do not know how many mixture or how many people they believe are in this mixture. If it's more than 3, I'm understanding it's going to be next to impossible to separate. And if it's 3 or less, it may take some time, but there is a path forward, successful path forward. We also heard that there was a partial DNA match. Right? We heard that. So how are all these things connected? In my opinion, again, I want to preface my opinion. I believe that there are multiple places that they receive DNA sources, and they're referring to that as one DNA source, even though, or at least implying that, so we're a little confused. But I think that there is, what we're going to ultimately find out is that there is more than one spot where they were able to obtain DNA. And one of those spots obtained a partial DNA, not good enough to put in the CODIS system. Because let's face it, we had a partial that wasn't able to be put in the CODIS system, yet we are now learning that there is DNA going in for that separation, that the separation of profiles, which is going to take some time and is quite difficult. So again, that's telling me just those two things can't be, in my mind, unless I'm not thinking of something. In my mind, those two things can't be true unless there are multiple DNA sources. Just my opinion. So take that for what you will. Guys, I also want to let you know that this timeline that we have here is still the official timeline from law enforcement. This timeline has not changed. I just found out John, which has been out there, what is his name? What's the gentleman's name that's been out there? DePetro, John DePetro. I know I've seen him in multiple places. I've seen him before. He's not the first. This is not the first time I've seen him out there. But he's from the John DePetro show. At any rate, he reached out to the sheriff to ask about the timeline, and come to find out, this particular timeline has not changed. So they're not giving us any updated timeline since we received this timeline. This is it. They're stating at 5:32, she took an Uber to her daughter's house. She left her daughter's house and arrived back at her house at 9:48. Her garage closed at 9:50. Everything seemed to be normal. By 1:47, we start seeing cameras going offline. By 2:12, we see a motion detector activated. And by 2:28, her pacemaker loses signal to her Apple Watch phone. The next morning, the family receives a call. They go by the house around 11:56. The home is found empty. Obviously, sign of intrusion, sign of altercation had to be in the house. Within 6 to 7 minutes, they're calling the sheriff. The sheriff comes out. They determine they have a crime scene. It appears that Nancy at this point had been abducted. She was missing from their home, and there was violence. So much violence that Pima County, in an abundance of caution, went ahead and ordered the homicide investigators out there, skipping over the major crimes detectives and investigators. So now we have the homicide detectives out there. While we did have a delay in reaching out to FBI, and we did have a delay in putting a plane up in the air, and we do have a scene that appears to have been released entirely too soon, and it appears that there are some things that weren't properly collected at the onset of this investigation. But we believe that, or at least the sheriff believes, we're in good shape in this highly contaminated crime scene, and they feel like they're getting a lot closer to finding the subject and suspect. We did find out that there are additional videos that are currently being analyzed by the Pima County Sheriff, and they are unwilling to discuss those things with us. But we do know of the videos, and the reason why we know that is because they sent out an email to all media related to this case, specifically citing additional stills and videos. So I am feeling a little confident. This is going to be a lot more a tough case to build because of the behavior of the sheriff, and because now they have to dot their I's and cross every single T, because a defense attorney is going to tear this case apart. We've got a lot of problems with this case already in its inception because of the handling of Pima County, from everything I'm understanding. We still are asking that this Pima County just, hand this over to the FBI. I think everybody would feel more comfortable. But, the arrogance of having to solve a high profile case, just like in the Summer Wells case, as well as the Sebastian Rogers case, is becoming annoying for America and Americans. And it's time for us to start activating and getting our politicians to give us some more control, so we can fire sheriffs that aren't acting in the best interest of the cases. And in my opinion, this sheriff is not acting in the best interest of this case. He's acting in the best interest of his political future. And that is unacceptable in America when it comes to people's lives. I'm sorry. I have absolutely zero palate for this type of policing. And so when I start seeing this, I don't hold back a whole lot about my feelings on a sheriff. I did not want to be mean to the sheriff. The sheriff seemed very, very nice when we first, he seemed to take responsibility. He just seemed to drop the ball, and, nobody wants to see that or hear that when it's their case, but this is what we were dealing with at the time. And then we started seeing him do underhanded stuff. So at that point, that's when my ability to try to tread lightly with this sheriff was out the window. It's unacceptable for me as an American citizen, but more importantly, as a victim's right advocate and activist. I don't have a palate for this type of policing. I will never have the palate for this type of policing. The only type of policing I have a palate for is the one that gets the job done, whatever means necessary. That's the only palate I have. That's the only palate most of my audience members have. We want our law enforcement to conduct themselves within the confines of the law, but we're not here. We want results. Okay. We don't want excuses. We want results. And when we're not getting results, we want the officers to understand that, we appreciate their work, but we need to move this on. We give law enforcement more respect that know their limitations for their officers as well as their department. We appreciate when they understand their limitations and go ahead and make the call. We have several law enforcement bodies around here that are arrogant, that have a obviously small penises, because they're the only ones that try to make everybody think their penises are bigger. Okay, so this is where I'm at in this, and sometimes I get a little crude in my deliberation of why I'm angry with law enforcement. And at this point, I think Chris Nanos has dropped the ball enough publicly that she should acknowledge what he has done and hand it over to the FBI so we can salvage this case. His career is pretty much ruined, and I can promise you, we here on social media will never forget what he did to this poor lady. What he allowed politics to do to this poor lady's case. We will not forget this in the future. And I can promise Chris Nanos he's going to need social media to get reelected. And I can tell you, we're going to turn our back on him. We're going to turn our back on him. And we're going to hold the media out there accountable as well. So if they try to prop this guy up, we're going to remind him how he ran them off. How dare them? We need to start instilling backbone in our media in this country again, because these politicians, they need us. We don't need them. We have the Constitution. We have freedom of press. We have freedom of speech. We don't need them. But by God, law enforcement and politicians need us. And we need to start wielding that. And we need to start putting them in their place. And that goes for media too. You wouldn't get ran over if you had a backbone and a pair of balls. So I don't know what type of leadership you've got at your news organizations, but maybe the leadership needs to be fired. Just saying. Again, I come after everybody. When I start seeing corruption, when I start seeing the people that allow the corruption, like in Tennessee, their media is just as corrupt as their politicians, because their media is the one that turns the blind eye and lies to all of the people that trust them to tell them the truth in the news. So out there in Sumner County in Nashville, Tennessee, I trust none of their news organizations. There's only one little girl out there that I trust. Her name's Caitlin, and that's literally it. And she is probably the nicest person out there. Everybody else, I take with a grain of salt. I know they're going to chop up what I'm going to say. They're going to put a spin on it. They're going to run narratives. When I talk to other news organizations, I've got to put a recorder on me so I can put out what I really say, because I don't trust them to put out what I say in the way I say it. They try to run their own narrative, choppy with my interviews. And so we don't play that crap either. But if you guys want to know, out here, the media out here just turned their back on the case. They ran like a freaking, they got no backbone. They didn't stand up to the sheriff. They didn't try to challenge this illegal no parking bullshit. Challenge it. They have the big pockets. This is the garbage that I'm talking about with media. And here we have this 78-year-old lady out here, 84-year-old lady out here that hasn't been found. And they're just not even really running the case because the sheriff doesn't want them running the case. Who gives a crap? If you guys had bells and backbones, that sheriff should have never been elected. We would have had a good sheriff running this investigation instead of this hot mess express of the Pima County Sheriff's Department, where not a damn person there has over 4 years of real experience. That's a failed leadership. Who's responsible for that? That's the media. We would be dragging our politicians through the mud if they had the reputation that Pima County Sheriff has. Period. I don't understand what's wrong with this world. I don't understand why nobody sees the forest for the trees. I don't understand why nobody goes out there and gets involved in their community and starts protecting their citizens. Clearly, your government ain't doing it for you, so somebody's going to have to get off the rear end and start going down there and making a difference in your community. But at the end of the day, the sheriff has a lot to say. But I wanted to go back before we dive into the breaking news or the urgent news that we have on this case, with the whole fact that we already knew, we already said it, don't worry, we've already given you your disclaimer out there in Pima County, you're in danger. I've told you guys you're in danger. I had people come here and cuss me out saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. They live where they live. Okay, well, you can love where you live right to the grave. Because I can tell you Nancy did. And everybody's like, oh, but she was targeted. But we don't even know how she was targeted. Was she targeted because she was a little old lady? Or was she targeted because she was Savannah's mom? Maybe you guys are thinking she was targeted as Savannah's mom, but she was targeted because she was an old lady, a rich old lady that lived alone. How many other rich old ladies live in this community that live alone? How many other grandmas in this community are sitting ducks? I'm asking for a few people. can tell you, this is the first case that I've had as many guys in this case and involved in this case and actively concerned about this case that I've ever seen. Guys, the majority of our audience in the true crime genre are typically women that are 55 and older. White women that are 55 and older. That is our makeup. I don't make the algorithm. That's the algorithm. And most of the women are from the United States, but we have actually, believe it or not, a strong following from Australia and the UK. I didn't realize that, but I look at my algorithm and I look at my statistics for the people that watch this. And believe it or not, there are more guys paying attention to this case than any other case that I have known. Like even the people that call into our show, believe it or not, the majority, we've always had women calling into this show, lots and lots of women. Here as of late, every time I open my phones on, guess who we're speaking to? We're speaking to majority men. See, Ollie's, thank you. Love it. We're speaking to a lot of men. And this tells me that this rattles a lot of men, that a lot of men are concerned about their moms or their grandmas. Okay? This case has kind of rocked the fabric of the United States. I mean, this is an 84-year-old grandmother that seemingly has done absolutely nothing. And let's face it, the more and more we watch of her going on the Today Show with her daughter, Savannah, the more we fall in love with this lady. The sweeter she seems, right? I mean, she just seems like the all-American grandma. She seems like the baker, the cookie baker, the crafty, grandma. So I really think a lot of people identify with this Nancy Guthrie more than any other case, and we're really seeing a lot of men coming to this case. Yeah, Australia here. Mom at her age lives alone. Yeah, exactly. And so this case here is scary for a lot of people because we want to know who could have done this. And a lot of us did say, because statistically it's going to be a family member. Statistically, that's what the majority of this. But you got to remember, in statistics, there's still that minority category. and just because it doesn't happen often, it doesn't mean none of the cases go into that category, because obviously there are some cases in that minor category, right? So this could be part of that minor category of the stranger danger. She did not know her assailant, that this could have been targeted. But when we hear the way the sheriff is talking about how they believe they understand his motive, or they know his motive, it makes you think that they've identified that it was either a robbery, SA, a homicide, a hit, something. So let's get on here. I want to just step back just a little bit. We've already got so many people in chat. I'm not going to be able to individually say hi to each and every one of you. So I'm just going to go up just ever so high and just say hi to a few of you. And I will say hi to you guys as you're commenting moving forward. So good morning, guys. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that thumbs up button. If you are here on the replay crew, please consider hyping this live. I really do appreciate that. Hype does help a lot. So does the thumbs up and also commenting. If you guys can go all into the chat and just say good morning to one another, that would be great. If you guys would like to tell us where you're from, what the temperature is from in your area, that would also be very nice. I will tell you, here in Manatee County where I live, it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It appears to be mostly cloudy today. We kind of do have a small little cool front, which is just slightly above molten lava here in the state of Florida, but we will take that slightly above molten lava any day of the week because it's extremely hot in the state of Florida. And people that are overseas, I think the only people that come close to what we feel like is Australia. So if you are from Australia, when we were going through our winter, you were going through your summer, that's where I'm going next, okay? So that molten lava you guys were feeling is what we here in Florida are about to experience. Lori, thank you. My eyes are still on. Tommaso, gotcha. I'm fired up too, Betty. It's upsetting, targeting elders for money. You know that they are a soft target, especially the ones that live alone. And if you are a scammer or a con artist, this is your job. So identifying targets. I mean, think about it. What do? I mean, if you wanted to flip this around, we shop for stories. I'm constantly on here looking for breaking news stories. I'm always constantly on here, searching. This is my job. So I search for the next story we're going to be covering. And you got to think criminals are always searching for their next target, much like that. And so if they're professional, which as disgusting as that sound, a professional robber, burglar, yeah, they're professionals. They're professional outfits that do this for a living. All they do is criminal conduct until they get caught, and then they go into jail because it's a low-level crime. They go into jail for 2-3 years. They get out and they start doing the same thing, and it's just like that until the next time they get caught. So, Albatross, it's nice to see you. Oh, Lady O, it's nice to see you. Olise, it's nice to see you. CM Witch, Groovy Gal, good morning. It's nice to have you up in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Lori, Mothra, Bombastic, Mr. Dunham, it's nice to see you. Miss Rue, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? YouTuber, Baby Love. Hello, hello, hello. Kelly, Deb, it's nice to see you. DeBoss, Sonia, hello guys. Hello guys. Who else do we have? James, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Skybell, Downey, it's nice to see you. Jason, good morning. And you guys can see just by the names. I mean, we got a lot more guys in the chat. Robin, good morning. Momo, it's nice to see you. Red Top, good morning. Jojo, it's nice to see you. Crazy Cat Lady, oh, Crazy Cat Lady, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Bean, hello. I'm missing a few people. I'm sorry. I'm jumping over. It pops up on me on this side for some reason. It just does. So if I miss you, I miss you. I'm so sorry. Well, those are the people for right now. So it's nice to see you, Frank. Good morning. It's nice to see you. And for everybody else that's coming in, now is where we kind of get started. Now, there was one of our audience members did bring up, this racket, this potential ring. And while this was in California, is it possible that something like this could have happened to Nancy Guthrie? And, I'm going to throw it out here. It's very interesting. And this is out of Tombstone. It's a rental burglary uncovered even a larger fraud scheme. And, is this something that we're looking at here? And guys, these fraud schemes, I got to be honest with you. I haven't been covering any of this stuff because I don't even know it exists. We're a buyer's beware on here. So if you guys ever see a story in your community about a fraud or something that we can put out on the show to kind of make people aware, hey, Erica, Sonia, YouTuber, Melanie, Jules, Stacy, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. No justice. Sounds like the sheriff wants to happen again. Why wait until over a month? I know. That's been our problem too. We've been coming down on law enforcement because they need to start being honest with their community. Even if it's a targeted attack, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen to somebody else. What kind of target are we talking about here? Is it a targeted attack because they were going to rob the house, or is it a targeted attack specifically for Nancy? And if they are specifically for Nancy, what's preventing them from doing this again? So no matter how you look at it, somebody was targeted, somebody was injured, and nobody can tell us one iota of what we're looking at here and then tries to convince us that everybody's safe. I don't like that. I think that that's malpractice. I think that we need truthfulness from the people we hired to provide us the truth. I'm sick and tired of everybody thinking they know what's better for me. Okay? Government, you do not know what's better for me. You do not know what's better for my audience, because I can tell you there are people that just want the truth. Okay? We don't want you thinking, oh, we can't handle the truth. Okay? That's not your choice. That's not your choice. We want the truth. We want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And in this case, we're not getting it. And in many cases, we're not getting. We always see, even with Brian Koberger, they tried to convince people that there was no threat to the public. Are you kidding me? We all know that this was his first strike as a freaking serial killer. Don't tell me that man didn't have other targets on his list. And you're telling the whole entire world that everybody is safe, that this was just a targeted event. No, it was not. That man was psychotic. So we've got to start really holding our law enforcement's feet to the fire, because they're putting us in danger. Their policies are putting us in danger. This is a prime example. No lights out there. They had petty squabbles that kept their most sophisticated plane from getting in the air for 3 hours. I cannot tell you how angry I am at this law enforcement body because of the political bullshit. This woman may have been saved if not for the political bullshit in that community. Let's be honest. And I'm not going to hold my tongue when I say that, because that is the truth. That is my truth. Okay, that is my truth. You analyze it the way you want. But I'm sorry, when we have an abducted person, we all know every millisecond counts. Every stinking millisecond, let alone 3 hours of not having the most sophisticated, advanced plane in the air that Pima County Sheriff owns. This was awful. And this is why we're angry with the sheriff, and we want the sheriff to at this point, he should acknowledge the mistakes and turn this blessed case over. There's going to be another case. By keep holding on to it, we are going to keep raining down on his head. We are going to make sure if he keeps doing this, he never has a political future again to do this to any other family. That's what the true crime community is going to do to this sheriff if he keeps playing this stuff. And this is what media, the mainstream media in that area, needs to be getting behind as well. He does not need to be sheriff in this community. This 84-year-old grandmother deserved better. This whole entire family and community has deserved better from this government, and they have failed to protect their citizens. And that's at the end of the day, we see the creepers in that dark, dark community while they're trying to keep that taxpayer money. You know what? This is the manipulation of this community. You pay such high taxes out there in Pima County, and you can't even get streetlights, and they convince you you don't need them. Meanwhile, they're sucking you dry with taxes, and they ain't even keeping you safe. I'd be pissed. I'd want a refund. That's for damn sure. I'd want a refund. So we have this case here. This is about another ring. Is it possible? That's all we're bringing up to you guys, just giving you a little more information. This has nothing to do with the Nancy Guthrie case, but is something like this possible?
Tombstone short-term rental in early February has uncovered a larger fraud scheme without the state of victims. Now, News 4 Tucson's Jacob Owens spent the afternoon in Tombstone learning more about this case.
The two suspects in this alleged burglary are 20-year-old Chantel Gomez and 31-year-old Jawan Johnson. The two are accused of stealing more than $1,500 worth of household items and antiques from a...
Guys, give me just a second. I'm having some issues here. Let me reset this. Hold on a second. I don't like this. I don't like when it does that. When I go over to the other maybe I was on the wrong. Nope. Give me a second. Okay, let's save that, and let's see if we can get this. I might have to do something with the chat. It's okay, so it's my chat. Let me take this down. Guys, give me a second. I gotta fix this. It's still not fixing. Okay, well then I'll take you guys all out of here. There we go. Put you down. Put you back up. My system does not want to mess with me. Now that I know what the I'm doing on this, I can troubleshoot now. It's nice. I can troubleshoot now. Okay, there we go. See? Oh, we can go over here. Now I can pop you guys out. Oh, thank you, the real Emily. I appreciate that. Let me pop you guys back in here and get you guys set back up on the big screen, and then we'll be back. I just can't stand because I pop back between my two channels or my two screens, and when I do that, when it starts screwing up the where it takes the film off, then I got to stop it. So here we go. So thank you for that. Let me get back up here. There we go. There we go. And the real Emily Ross says, did you see retired lieutenant on JLR Live talk about the sheriff's office? End of stream yesterday, timestamp 10:15. It starts. He has also been on Brian Enton. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, we'll pull that up. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. And he said it's on his live from yesterday at the 10:15:25. Thank you for getting that very specific time. That's what we need. So I appreciate that. Let's go here, find out which one was from yesterday live. Okay.
Breaking.
It's always breaking news with Jonathan Lee Riches. Okay. 15:25. Okay, that's going to be it. All right, we will go over that. But before we do, now that we got this up, let me put this back. Sorry, when I was going over here to put your stuff up on the screen. Oh, thank you. Is that Veronica B. Always? Where are you? I just lost you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very gracious. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Oh, thanks. Because I'm a love machine. Let me do, there it is. Danger! Thank you. All right, guys. So here we go. Let's start this over again because I want you guys to really hear this. This was an interesting perspective. And, we have a lot of participation in this case. So anything that is a perspective that we can put out there and kind of get you guys thinking, maybe we have another path of travel. Maybe you guys are going to send me some information that might be useful related to this case, or send it to law enforcement and help solve this case. Will you be the next person that gets $1.2 million for being a hero? That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Oh, thank you, Sonia. Sonia gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Kelly, Carly, Crazy Cat Lady, Teresa, and No Justice. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard, because I'm a love machine. Ow! And then Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. My name is Shay. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard, because
you are a badass.
All right.
Burglary at a Tombstone short-term rental in early February has uncovered a larger fraud scheme without the state of victims. Now, News 4 Tucson's Jacob Owens spent the afternoon in Tombstone learning more about this case.
The 2 suspects in this alleged burglary are 20-year-old Chantel Gomez and 31-year-old Jawan Johnson. The 2 are accused of stealing more than $1,500 worth of household items and antiques from a short-term rental here in Tombstone. That alleged burglary came as a surprise to other managers of short-term rentals like Scout Mormon.
I thought it was kind of crazy. I hadn't really heard of anything too much like that, especially not in this area.
But this case goes far beyond alleged stealing. Authorities searched the Tucson residence of the suspects, revealing an alleged fraud scheme. Deputy Miriam Bear with the Tombstone Marshals says the more than 50 victims were guests at the Graduate Hotel by Hilton, where the suspects worked late last year. Bear says guests had their personal information taken, as well as that of their credit cards.
Wow.
That card number would then be used to make small little transactions, so say $20, $30, something that would be not necessarily noticed right away, and then it would bump up to larger scales.
Bear says the Graduate's general manager has been more than helpful.
It was also discovered that he too may have been a victim of identity theft and credit card theft.
I've reached out to the general.
Was she a victim? Was she a victim of some type of elder theft? Somebody that targeted her and maybe she was starting to get wise to it or was getting ready to report somebody. You know, could it be? Could it be something she was completely unaware of? Savannah could afford to bring all kids of investigators. She walked a fine line to protect Annie. I just don't think, you know, if somebody were to tell me and my sisters, you know, one of my sisters is in Louisiana, one is, you know, down south, and of course I'm here by myself without either one of my sisters that live very close to me. And I can tell you, if something like this happened, there is no way that I would believe any of my family members, my siblings or their spouses could ever hurt my mother. So, I mean, we need to be realistic here, because I want you to look at your sister, your brother-in-law, and say, you killed my mom, okay? You know, I'm being a little sarcastic here, but you know, how often do you look at your own family members and say, oh my God, you could kill my mom? You know, very rarely. We love our family. You know, I'm not going to be calling my sister and saying, are you having thoughts? How's your financial problems? Are you planning on murdering our mom to pay your bills? I mean, I am getting a little sarcastic here, but you guys get it. And yes, that would in many cases be the case, but we have to ask, why now? Why now? And if everybody's saying, well, she bought the house, you know, last year, they're having financial problems. When did families, well-to-do families, start committing homicide to get bills paid? I mean, typical families that have good family values like this family appears to have, if they're come across some financial problems, we pick up the phone and call the fam and say, hey, you know, I've been taking care of mom, you know, all these years, you know, we had to move closer to us. It's really taxed us. You know, we're getting a little tight here. Is there anything you can do? I'm absolutely confident Savannah or Cameron would have wrote a check. I believe Nancy herself would have wrote a check. I don't see anybody here needing to commit homicide to pay their bills. You know, that's the point that I'm trying to make. In all fairness, I understand, and I'm right there with you on the statistics. We know statistically that this is going to be, or typically, let's say not this is going to be, but typically cases like this, there is a family dynamic here. There is a disgruntled family, but most of the people already know who that disgruntled family member is. It's obvious, you know, they know about the inner and outers. They know about the family strife and stuff like that. And it's you know, my sister's son that's whacked out on substances. You know, we cut him off last year. We told him we're not supporting him anymore. And, you know, a few months later, our mom is gone, but she's removed him from the will. He just didn't know it. You know, something like that. You know, the families know if there's that family strife or something that's caused this kick up of problems or drama in a family dynamic. And I don't see where we have that so far. That's my only concern. I don't see where we truly have that so far. But I would like to, you know, express that. And I'm not trying to be, you know, I'm trying to be sarcastic in a way, because I think it's time for us to move on from Tommaso and Annie until new information comes up. Because, you know, based upon this reporting here of it being somebody that targeted for fraudulent purposes, or the fact that we just went over Nancy Woodrum, and in Nancy Woodrum's case, she was raped and murdered and drug out of her multi-million-dollar home because she gave her painter a tamale and tried to show some Southern courtesy and value by bringing him drinks. And he took it, I don't think he took it as her flirting with him, because then he could have flirted right back and they could have done their thing without him breaking into her house in the middle of the night. I think he just had the hots for this lady. And, you know, so we are, you know, because of these things, because of this information, because of us covering that Nancy Woodrum case, and that was courtesy of Ashley Banfield. She's the one that found that case. She's the one that ran the story. We kind of piggybacked on that story. But in all fairness, it's opening our eyes to other potential leads and suspects in this, including them going back to the Mexican restaurant and interrogating the wait staff and the employees of that restaurant to find out if them or somebody else in the audience might have done something here. Please, I don't know what to think about the retired guy, so please don't come at me. I wanted y'all's thoughts. Oh, no worries. You don't have to worry about it. We know that these aren't your statements. We're appreciative. We've done this for a really long. We're appreciative when people give us different perspectives, and of course, we never expect somebody else's speech to replace your own. So it's just another perspective. It's another a little tidbit that we can garner and learn from. But let's get over to the news. This is where I have the information that the timeline has not been adjusted from the one that we have. We have the official timeline here. This is the timeline right over here. Sorry, let me move. Which way do I need to move? This way. There we go. This is the timeline right here that you guys need to be focused on. This is the official timeline. This timeline has not changed at all. So I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that, just in case anybody said, we have updated information. And then, of course, learning from the sheriff that they believe they know why he did this, but never telling us what their working theory is now. And he further states that this subject could strike again. We've informed our audience because we're responsible, and we've already informed our audience that this could be the possibility. We told our audience this could be a possibility weeks ago at the beginning when we went over all of our theories, because if this was a stranger danger or somebody that broke into that house for SA, which is one of the reasons, we had to identify all the reasons that somebody would remove somebody from the home. And one of those theories that popped up as to why they would remove somebody from the home is that they AR'd them or sexually assaulted them, and they had left their DNA and needed to remove that out of the house. So they would not be caught, so to speak. And so that was one of our theories that we had worked with. And if that was our theories, we talked about the assailant upgrading. That means him starting with just a peeping Tom and then going into the residence being burglarized, but nothing taken. And then the residence being burglarized and maybe underwear or other trophies taken out of that house. And then ultimately they come in and they may start taking pictures or standing over somebody at night. And then they upgrade to going in and sexually gratifying themselves and things of that nature. It's kind of this stepping thing that we've seen some of these criminals do while they're here. So we did discuss those possibilities and elements very early on when we learned of this case. And we also informed our audience, if that's what we're looking at here, this person could theoretically strike again. And so that is starting to hold some water. And we haven't talked about that since the beginning, because again, we put some stuff out there, we get our theories, and we kind of shelve them for a second until something, gets it to hold some water. And when that holds water, we pull that off the shelf and start talking about it, much like we did with Luke Daly. When Luke Daly was first brought up about potentially being involved in this case, we didn't jump on the bandwagon and start talking about Luke Daly or clubbing Luke Daly over the head. As a matter of fact, we didn't really talk about it at all, other than just the facts surrounding the impoundment of the car, the house, and other information. And he was out of sight, out of mind. We put him on the shelf. Well, what had happened is he decided to do an interview with a news organization to proclaim his innocence when nobody was really talking about him. And one of those things, and in that interview, we noticed that he had an injured right hand. Well, it subsequently, one of our audience had previously called into our show acknowledging they believed the assailant had, of all things, an injured right hand. So you can imagine how shocking that was for me to look at that interview and see an injured right hand on Luke Daly after receiving a call from somebody that implied that there may be, when we didn't know who the masked gunman was, but just saw the masked gunman and saw his behavior with his right hand and indicated it appeared that the right hand may be injured. So that's what took him off the shelf. He was on the shelf until he did that interview. If he would have never done that interview, in all fairness, Luke still would, to this day on this show, be out of sight, out of mind. But because he did that interview, because we could see the injured hand, and because we had the previous call about the injured hand, he has now been taken off the shelf. He's sitting right here. This is where Luke Daly's filed right here, right? So I am looking at Luke Daly very, very highly as a potential person of interest in this case because, and I wasn't the one that called him a person of interest. Law enforcement did. They did that by the execution of a search warrant on his persons, his house, and his car. But we haven't gotten any results from that, and the sheriff has not cleared him. And now we're hearing that it could be this a lone person breaking into houses or targeting this person for profit, and that now this person, it appears, we noticed that he appeared to be comfortable doing what he was doing. So I believe he was moving around at night around people's houses long before this particular case came about. So why did he target Nancy, and why did he rip her from her bed? Well, Pima County Sheriff again says he believes they know the reason for this. They have an understanding of what it is, but he will not say it. So let's go back here and let's turn up this.
Now in and out so that they can get time.
It's been weeks since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mom of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. As authorities continue to search for leads, the Guthrie family is now upping the reward for information to bring Nancy home. Hello, I'm Sebastian Robertson. Thank you for joining us today. We'll go through the details of the case that's gotten attention from around the country.
Thank you.
In a video posted on social media, Savannah Guthrie announced her reward of up to $1 million for the safe recovery of her mother. So far this week,
let me make sure this is the right one because I didn't realize it was running this whole time behind the scenes. So let's make sure we got the most up-to-date one for this particular show. Might be. Yeah, it is. Just checking.
It's been weeks since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mom of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. As authorities continue to search for leads, the Guthrie family is now upping the reward for information to bring Nancy home. Hello, I'm Sebastian Robertson. Thank you for joining us today. We'll go through the details of the case that's gotten attention from around the country. In a video posted on social media, Savannah Guthrie announced her reward of up to $1 million for the safe recovery of her mother. So far, this week's long investigation into Nancy's disappearance hasn't led to any arrests or leads on where she may be. Leah Waldman has the latest.
I'm coming on to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed.
As law enforcement is working on the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, her daughter, Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, is offering up a reward for her mother's recovery.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million.
This is in addition to the FBI's $100,000 reward for information about 84-year-old Guthrie. It's the first we've heard from one of Guthrie's children in more than a week. Amidst the plea, Savannah Guthrie acknowledged for the first time that her mother may no longer be alive.
She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves.
CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst John Miller believes this video comes as substantive tips in the case are slowing down.
The family still believes, and investigators concur with this, that there's still someone out there, maybe more than one someone, who actually knows.
Meanwhile, new details have emerged about the masked person seen on doorbell camera footage.
I have to believe at this point, one of our I still believe that this could have been handled by one person. Okay. So I'm not convinced 100% that there was a second person, but I do believe that there is, a palette for a conspiracy and concerted action, because this does look like it could potentially have multiple people involved. But I'm also looking at this on whether or not, they someone could do this by themselves? And the answer is yes. I do believe that somebody could do this by themselves. Would this be easier with multiple people? My answer is yes. So there is the possibility of having multiple people, but I don't want us to exclude the fact that somebody could do this theoretically by themselves with no other person involved. Would they have told somebody? That really depends on that person. But let's just keep that in mind. This could be a single lone person. This could be a conspiracy. We don't know what we're dealing with here.
The suspect visited her doorstep on 2 different days, not just the morning she is believed to have been kidnapped, a source told CNN. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said in a statement Monday there is no date or time stamp associated with these images, and suggesting the photos were taken on different days is purely speculative. I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Savannah Guthrie also announced a $500,000 donation to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
I didn't hear that.
She said she hopes the attention given to her family will...
She's also given $500,000 to the missing. That's amazing. I didn't hear that. Because that goes to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's not somebody that's really working her mom's case, so to speak, but $500,000, that's amazing.
Will extend to all those missing loved ones. There's a growing tribute outside Nancy Guthrie's home in the Tucson area. People have been stopping by to leave flowers, heartfelt signs, and candles to show their support.
I live a few neighborhoods down, and it's just scary, and I just really hope she's able to come back, and I hope she's okay and is able to recover.
Nancy was reported missing on February 1st. She was last seen the day before on January 31st. Investigators say she disappeared from her home in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood of Tucson. In the weeks of this ongoing case, a lot has happened. There have been ransom notes, emotional videos from Savannah Guthrie's Instagram account with statements from their family, and surveillance video released from Nancy's doorbell camera. It showed an armed, masked man outside her home the morning she vanished.
And we see a lot with this armed intruder, but more importantly, I think there is a vehicle in the background. We know that there was a vehicle that had to have been used. I'm still a little set back, kind of in awe that law enforcement hasn't provided us a vehicle to be on the lookout for. That is very concerning for me from where we are currently. We see this man, it appears, have a firearm. No closer to locating where that firearm came from, whether it was from a prior robbery or something that belonged to that person. We saw an item in the pocket that appeared to have an antenna, either a jammer or a walkie-talkie. If a walkie-talkie, I think that almost implies at least a secondary person. So we still have a lot of unknowns in this case, and I don't really see how the public can really help with how law enforcement is handling this case, and more importantly, handling the information that's being released to the public.
Detectives have also detained and questioned some of the people during this.
I want to remind everybody, like you just seen Carlos up there. Carlos did not change his appearance. Tommaso has never changed his appearance. Okay, since this case, the only suspect that has, the person of interest that has been detained, that had his house searched, his car processed, and his fingerprints taken was Luke Daly. And he is the only person so far that has full sleeve tattoos, a flat ring on the middle finger, and a hurt hand, in addition to changing his appearance, shaving his entire face. Is that suspect? To me it is. It's something, because out of the other 3, none of them tried to change their appearance. Only one guy.
This case, only to release them hours later. Right now, there aren't any suspects in custody. Our station in Phoenix spoke with a law enforcement expert to get insight on the case.
So joining us now to talk about the case, former FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli. And John, thanks so much for joining us.
Mouthful.
You know, we are now into week 4, still no sign of Nancy. What are your thoughts at this point?
Well, the FBI and the Sheriff's Department are still looking at all the various leads that have been called in by the public. They're up to somewhere around 30,000 phone calls have reported potential information. That, combined with the DNA analysis, hopefully is going to bring us somewhere in this investigation. It's been a while, but these cases can be complicated.
Yeah, very complicated.
So let's talk about some of those complications. Some of those complications, contamination, failure to collect critical evidence. I'm sorry. I believe that that foliage, that mat at the front door where the blood was, all should have been taken to the lab. No questions asked. Should have been vacuumed up. That whole entire front walk step should have been vacuumed up for any type of trace evidence, period. We saw zero. They didn't even see the assailant. They did not know they had a masked assailant with gloves on at the time. There should have been a massive amount of latent print dust on everything. We didn't see that anywhere in the front of the house. Now, granted, could it have been just not observed? Could they just not have captured it and it was done? Yeah, I guess so. But, typically that stuff is really hard to get off. It's such a fine powder. It's on everything. So we just didn't see a whole lot that really made us feel like this was a really stellar, top-notch forensic investigation of that house. And then you released the house early, and then people walked up to it, contaminating even more that front entryway, so making it virtually impossible at that point to collect any more for forensic testing because of the cross-contamination. It was piss poor. It was piss poor. I think everybody here, and then this sheriff, instead of just acknowledging what we've all seen, he's shaming us like, oh, how would the public know? It's because this is all we do. What do you mean, how do we know? I don't know how many homicide cases this sheriff has ran or watched, but we've followed hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. Every single case. I mean, look at this case. We've already talked about how many homicide cases just to cover this case. The most notable is this Nancy Woodrum. We just learned about Nancy Woodrum's case. In Sebastian Rogers' case, we watched a lot of different moms interview moms that murdered their children. We watched several interrogations. We have ideas of different interrogation techniques, the words of those interrogation techniques. We can identify those interrogation techniques. You're talking about us drinking and sleeping true crime. Granted, we're not experts and we can't be called to a witness stand, but this idea, this illusion that law enforcement has that we're so dumb, we don't understand this, is the nail in their coffin. Because every time we open our mouths and we speak about protocol, they understand, we know what the hell we're talking about. At the end of the day, that was not processed properly, and they opened the crime scene too damn early. And until the Sheriff Chris Nanos, takes acknowledgement of that, we can expect this piss poor investigation to continue happening and him saying, oh, we're the best of the best of the best. No, you're not. And you can't even tell people when you make mistakes. You messed up. The sheriff messed up at the beginning of this case. Has he been able to rectify those crucial errors at the beginning? And some of those crucial errors, once are made, and they damage, and they're damaged into perpetuity. But it doesn't mean they don't have a path forward, and it doesn't mean they can't get the assailant arrested and properly prosecuted and convicted. Even with all these problems, there's still paths forward. So I don't want you guys thinking that there's no path forward. What's the point? At this point, he screwed up the entire case. No matter who we find or who we say did it, they're never going to be held truly accountable. And while I do believe some of these things are going to be known and be detrimental to this case, especially during sentencing. That's the punishment this person gets. This may absolutely affect the sentencing of whatever subject is ultimately convicted of this crime. But there's going to be a lot of hurdles the prosecutor is going to have to overcome because of a lot of these things. And not only a lot of these things, but because the sheriff allowed these things to go viral on the case. Like the incompetence and the lack thereof and the poor investigative work, that's publicly noticed. So that means that any attorney in the Arizona area is already hip to the fact that we got problems with the investigation. They're already capitalizing on the problems of the investigation. Hell, some of them will probably have cases that they're going, and because of us bringing up different problems, they're thinking in their own cases, ooh, maybe I need to ask the prosecutor this. Maybe this might help my client, right? Maybe they forgot to do this in this case, and they, whatever. It's got a spiraling effect of it. But again, what are we looking at here? We still don't know what we're looking at. We still don't know who's responsible. And the people that we believe are persons of interest are theoretically or legitimately cleared for any involvement. And one of the reasons why I didn't really entertain Luke Daly is because of the fact that the DNA profile didn't have a hit in CODIS, and from my understanding is because of the past record of Luke Daly, his DNA should have been in CODIS. But what if he did take the DNA, and what if the DNA hasn't been processed? I remember here in Florida, we had a 2.5 year waiting list. Like, we were so backed up on DNA, it took 2.5 years to process DNA in the state of Florida. It was ridiculous. Like, all the R cases and homicide cases, if it wasn't a priority case, it was 2 years before you could know who the suspect was. And cases just sat around and waited 2 years before the Florida Department of Law Enforcement could get around to the DNA. Is this a situation, has anybody looked at that situation being a reality in Arizona? Are there suspects that DNA swabs that have not been entered into CODIS because of the backlog? Those are legitimate questions I think we need to know, because if Luke Daly's DNA is not in CODIS, and there was no hit in CODIS, then he could still be a viable suspect. But if his DNA was in CODIS and it didn't hit in CODIS, then he's probably not the guy. And I think the sheriff, especially with all the targets that he put on a lot of people's back, should be clearing these people. I mean, they're going through a lot of bullshit because of it. Sorry, guys, it must have reset.
2 weeks since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mom of Today's Show host. There's a growing tribute outside Foothills neighborhood.
There we go.
Still no sign of Nancy. What are your thoughts at this point?
Well, the FBI and the Sheriff's Department are still looking at all the various leads that have been called in by the public. They're up to somewhere around 30,000 phone calls have reported potential information. That, combined with the DNA analysis, hopefully is going to bring us somewhere in this investigation. It's been a while, but these cases can be complicated.
Yeah, very complicated, tens of thousands of leads, and still it just seems like hitting roadblocks. What do you think investigators mentally are going through right now? Because it's got to be frustrating.
It's certainly frustrating, but the thought of investigators is that for the family and the victim. While investigators may be frustrated, they're also dedicated, and they want to bring this case to a successful resolution for everyone's sake. No one's letting up. The stories that I've heard is about rotating agents and law enforcement personnel in and out so that they can get time to rest.
And I believe that they need to do that. I'm very well aware, because the worker bees are just that. They're worker bees. People need to understand that when I criticize law enforcement, it is not the investigators. It's not the worker bees, because they're not the ones making decisions. It's their bosses and their bosses' bosses, the top brass, the ones that are truly running and giving the orders for these investigations. When I have criticism, those are the people I'm talking about. I never talk about the beat cops. I never talk about the investigators, the people that are on the grounds, unless it's a dumbass like, and I don't want to say that about Brandon Carter in Sumner County, but he's young, he's green, and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And at the end of the day, he's the only investigator for Sebastian Rogers, So when I do talk about him, I do talk about him. But in majority of the time, and I'm very clear on that, I when I criticize law enforcement, it's top brass, and God forbid these people be corrupted. I don't care whether you're top brass or low brass, you're corrupted. I'm talking about you. But for most part, all the law enforcement that are out there, the beat cops, those guys put their life on the line. I praise them. I thank them for their service. I am definitely not criticizing them unless they're a bad person that does bad shit, right? There are just some cops that have that chip on their shoulder, and they should not be cops. But that's few and far between, believe it or not. Most street cops, most investigators, they love their community, they love their job, and they want to do the best that they can do. And those are the people we love and respect and everything like that. But at the end of the day, we've got a lot of politics in our policing, and that has got to go. You are seeing this play out in real time in one of the biggest cases our nation. Can you imagine that this be the case for the Idaho 4? We would be coming unglued on that sheriff. We didn't have this problem in Idaho. We had a lot of problems in the Idaho 4. But this... we didn't have this pissing contest. We had a school that should not have been involved in the investigation. That, if I ever hear about it again, I don't know what I will do activist-wise, but I will be doing something. I will be condemning that. No school should be privy to any type of investigation on their campus or otherwise. We did not know who was responsible for this. It could have been a person the highest person up in the school for all we know. You do not involve anybody that does not have a badge or a gun to be part of an investigation. I totally disagree with that. But at the end of the day, I love their messaging. They kept everybody on their toes. They kept everybody on the ball. They kept us talking about some things, and they kept clearing people. We were very appreciative of them clearing people. So clearing people doesn't damage the case, because we saw that in the Idaho 4. So there's a reason why Chris Nanos will not clear these individuals. If they are truly cleared, Chris Nanos just needs to get off his soapbox and realize whatever they had did not pan out, and these people are cleared. If he doesn't know that, then he needs to keep his mouth shut. But if he knows for a fact that these guys had nothing, Carlos had nothing to do with it, and Luke had nothing to do with it, he should have been perfectly fine coming and clearing them, especially as much of a spectacle as he's made their searches. Just saying. It's just common courtesy, okay? If they didn't do it, own it.
So that they're fully committed and energized in working this investigation.
Yeah, it's got to be around the clock work. The media attention, as we are starting to see, it's starting to fall off. Do you think that this helps or hurts the investigation?
Certainly, they want to keep this in the media's spotlight. The advantage here, of course.
So you're hearing law enforcement saying we need this in the media spotlight, right? And you've got Chris Nanos running media off. This is another problem I have. This is another major problem I have with the leadership of Chris Nanos, because, like I said, and even the neighborhood, I condemn the neighbors. First of all, I want to say, if you guys are living in that neighborhood, I'm sorry you're going through it, but the media didn't do that to you. That assailant did that to you. But for you to push the media out and try to say you want to give dignity back to Nancy, you're not giving her dignity. You're stifling her case being solved, because it is a proven fact. The more media attention a case has, the more resources that are thrown at it. So the minute you ran all of those media off, you told that family you did not care about their loved one, that you didn't care about their loved one. And I want you to put yourself in their shoes. If it was somebody that you loved, you would want as many resources on your case as possible, and for the community. And it was just a few assholes out there, a few residents that are assholes. That's why I wouldn't go out there, because you do not want to pop off at the mouth to me, because I'm not the one. I will be honest with you, and everybody knows I'm honest. I'm honest with you guys about everything, and I know my behavior, and I know, but one thing I do have more than anything is my mouth, and I know how to use it. You do not want to come up and give me, because at the end of the day, you do not own those roads. You own that little sliver of land that you call home. Anything outside of that driveway, you do not own. Okay, that is not your road. That is not your community. That is everybody's community. It has taxpayer money, federal money, and God knows what else money. But what it doesn't have is roads or street lights, which I would recommend you guys installing. But I would be the first one to remind you, you do not own that road. You do not own me. You do not own my equipment. And you do not own this right here, right? And so I hope that all of the people that live in that community leave media alone. They're doing their job, okay? And it's helping this grandmother come home, whether you agree with it or not. We don't ask your permission. I will never ask a community or a neighbor's permission to set up shop to cover a story. If that's offensive to you, it's not my problem. It's your problem. Because I'm not offended by you being there. If you're offended by me being there, why? Why? Because you think you own a road that you do not own? So let me be very clear to the people out there in Arizona that want to be rude to media. You own your home. That's it. Let's be clear on that. And if nobody's walking up to your home or stepping on your property, you going and interfering with them, you're the one harassing people. Okay? Nobody's harassing you. You are now the person that's harassing somebody else. So let's get educated and let's not get it twisted. Media is absolutely needed out there for Nancy Guthrie. She has not been found. She has not been brought home. And I am going to support and clap and whatever we need to do to keep people out there. They need to keep people out there. And right now, I think everybody that's out there is kind of stuck anyways, because I don't think they're going anywhere. From what I'm hearing, our airports are running at a snail's pace because, again, your Democrat party, the people that hijack the Democrat Party, like shutting people down and like not paying our TSA workers and like making just normal Americans' lives miserable. So if you're a Democrat and you're sick of your party being hijacked, please fire your Democrat leaders. I'd really appreciate it. Maybe we can all just get along. But when they're shutting down people and not allowing people to survive or feed their family or put food on the table for their children, well, I have a little bit of a problem with that, and so should you. So it's time for us to get the Democrat Party in control, and I'm asking all Democrats in my chat and people that are coming across this, it's your responsibility to hold the line with your people. It's our responsibility to hold the line with our people, and I'm not very pleased. I say fire the whole damn federal government if you ask me, but in this situation, we don't have that opportunity, but we need our TSA workers being employed and being able to put food on the table for their children. I'm so sick of people taking money out of and food away from American citizens on American soil. I'm tired of it. Families need to eat. Families need to pay their damn bills. You all go to work to get paid, right? I know I show up every day to get paid. So if we're all getting paid, why can't our TSA workers get paid? That's what I've got to say about that. That's what I got to say about that. You guys need to wake up. So I'm going to ask you guys, quit shutting our country down. Anyways, getting back on this, but it tells you that our people are going to be out there. So they're stuck out there. They can't really come home. They have no ability to get home, okay? The TSA is shut down. They're going to be there for 6 hours. They're going to be waiting in line just to board a plane for 6 hours at this point. So don't worry. JLR is going to be out there for another couple weeks, okay? Another couple. I'm just saying.
Versus you have a national anchor who's a victim of this crime in that her mother was taken. That will assist in keeping it in the forefront. The more the public is aware, the more there's a chance somebody's going to see something. The individual itself in the video may be recognizable despite the mask and all the heavy clothing, the backpack, the other items somebody may pick up on. Additionally, whoever participated in this is probably acting a bit unusual from their normal character. Think about all the attention the media is giving. He's got to know that law enforcement's closing in and it's only a matter of time. Somebody sees something unusual related to a person they knew that fits this.
I think this guy has already said, oh my gosh, I did something, or he has an unusual infatuation with watching the news when he never really had a infatuation. People are, if you are out there and maybe you have an ex-boyfriend, maybe you have, a nephew, a niece that has this crazy boyfriend and they're paying extra attention to the news related to Nancy Guthrie, call that stuff in. Somebody is acting very, very odd. Somebody is acting very, very anxious. Somebody is paying attention, unnaturally paying attention to all the details of this case. Somebody is drinking and sleeping this case when they usually don't even care. There are behaviors that are being had right now that are being observed by somebody that's saying why are they acting that way? Call that in if you are in this community. That is something that is a telltale sign that somebody might be harboring some weight on their shoulders. Did a person come in with marks? Did they have blood on their shoes? Did they have blood on their clothes? Did they say that they got in a fight with somebody or somebody was trying to rob them that night? Somebody came in with a story, right? We did this when the two girls in the suitcase showed up, right? We were talking about we were looking at that and we're like, wait a minute, who the hell is going to be digging in the middle of an open field with 5 houses in front of them? And we knew that it was somebody from that community. And we even told people, this is somebody that's going to have children. And then the next day they just don't have children. And the children went on vacation, but they just never came back. You're going to be hearing something that doesn't make sense. And sure enough, somebody in that community must have called in and said, hey, wait a minute, this lady lives right above me and she had 2 kids and all of a sudden the 2 children were gone. And I know they were half siblings, because somebody had to have known who the hell is digging in an open field with houses right across the street from them. That's somebody that's very familiar with that community and, more importantly, very familiar with the comings and goings of all those houses in front of that field. And then we find out she's just on the other side of that field. She had perfect watch over everybody in that house. She knew exactly what their behaviors and their schedules were. So this is going to be one of those things where I'm going to say pretty much the same thing. Somebody out there in this community has seen some odd behavior by a guy that is about 5'9", 5'10". Do you know any guy that has tried to change his appearance? Do you know any guy that tried to change his appearance and may have had blood on him? Do you know a guy that may have changed his appearance, has some blood on him, may have been trying to get rid of his vehicle or sell his vehicle? Or somebody that decided to take their entire vehicle to a car wash and clean the inside with the pressure washer? Something stupid like that doesn't make sense. Does anybody know of anybody like that? If you do, reach out to law enforcement. Reach out to law enforcement. It might get you $1.2 million. Remember that.
Description. Here's the opportunity to pick up the phone, call the FBI, call the sheriff's department.
Yeah, people still need to be on the lookout. Former FBI Special Agent John Yannerly, thank you so much for your time.
Investigators say they're not ruling out the possibility that more than one person could be involved in Nancy's disappearance. Gabriela Barquera is in Tucson with...
I'm not ruling that out either because... I just feel like after looking at our walkie-talkie, I feel that was more of a walkie-talkie in his, but somebody even brought up a satellite phone. Is this how are satellite phones tracked with CART, geofencing? Are they recognized? Because that's interesting to me. If it was a satellite phone, I've seen a satellite phone, and I remember them having the weird antenna on it, and that could be a satellite phone as well. Somebody brought that up, so I don't want to dismiss the potential of a satellite phone. But I really believe it was a walkie-talkie but I've never seen a jammer in real life. I've never seen anybody use a jammer. I have no experience with a jammer. Not a jammer. So Tracy's kind of agreeing that she believes that it's a walkie-talkie as well. So there is that signal jammer. Frank Stinks still thinks it's a signal jammer. I've never seen a signal jammer. I've never seen one actually be used. I've never, I have no experience with it. I'm ignorant. period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about, and I'm sure a lot of people in my chat are about as ignorant as me when it comes to signal jammers. Most of us have, up until the word being used, never knew something like that existed. Or if they did think it existed, they didn't think it existed, that you could get that type of product here. I don't think there's a whole lot of people searching for signal jammers in this country. I really don't. I need more information and evidence, but I understand not letting us know. I agree. But you know what? At the end of the day, there are people that are in that community that are willing to help. And every single case I've ever come across, it's always taken the public to help solve the case. So, taking that history and knowing it's always taken the public to help solve a case, and then hearing law enforcement time and time again push the public out, it pisses me off. It really does. It unnerves me. It makes me feel like that law enforcement is obstructing their own case. They know that they have never solved one case without a human being, without another human being helping them. Yet they throw everybody out of the case, and they say, "Oh, we can do this by ourselves." Well, you know what? People are getting sick and tired. Why do people... I can tell you this. When I came into the Summer Wells case, we had people coming and speaking to us because they didn't want to speak to their law enforcement. I never understood why they didn't want to speak to their law enforcement until I realized how corrupted their law enforcement was in Hawkins County. And then it kind of explained to me, sometimes people don't want to speak to law enforcement. Sometimes people want to speak to a third party because they don't trust law enforcement. I can tell you, I understand not trusting law enforcement. I don't trust going into Sumner County alone. When we go into Sumner County, this is the Sebastian Rogers case, you can ask my mods how much now we do to protect ourselves going into that county. Usually we had to protect ourselves from hate channels. We're having to protect ourselves from law enforcement in Sumner County. The Sumner County sheriff is so corrupted. They arrest innocent people every single day. And they know they do it, and they don't care. So when we go into Sumner County, Tennessee, we make very special. I don't stay in the actual county, and if I do, it's at a private residence. But I'm going to tell you right now, I will not stay in their county. I will stay in different city limits. I will stay in Kentucky. I will stay in Nashville. I will stay in a lot of places, but I will not stay in Sumner County. I do not trust their law enforcement. Their law enforcement is corrupted, and I believe if they could turn their back and let me be hurt and injured, they would. That's how highly I believe in Sumner County. I think the attorneys there, most of them are corrupted. So whenever you're in Sumner County and you go and hire a Sumner County defense attorney, you're fucked. Excuse my language, but it's true. They are so corrupted. I had Terry Frizzell, thought he was, the guy. He used to be the chief of police in Hendersonville. We knew that Hendersonville chief and Sumner County didn't necessarily get along. And he was working for the county and not working for me. He was corrupted. He violated my attorney-client privilege. I should have sued him for malpractice. I should have. I didn't. I chose not to because I had limited amounts of money and I had a criminal case that I had to worry about. So we opted not to, but I will be visiting Terry Frizzell's office in the future. I will be doing a complete, utter protest out in front of his office. And now he's more than welcome to pay me that $7,500 that he did not earn. And I might turn the other cheek. But at this point, I don't care. I want everybody in that county to know how slimy of a sleazebag that piece of shit is. And that's Terry Frizzell. So if you guys would like to look him up, call him, put a thing, do whatever you need to do. Doesn't take any air off my ass. He can kiss it as far as I'm concerned. I'm in Kentucky, born and raised. Ooh, I need to meet with you. Are you in Tom Massey's district? We need to take Tom Massey off his pedestal. I'm just saying. Or Rand Paul or Mitch McConnell. I think Kentucky needs to clean house. Literally the Senate and the House. Not figuratively. Seriously. Okay, I need to get back to my job. Activism, take a back seat. Okay.
What's next in the investigation?
New information in this case is becoming more limited as investigators wait for DNA evidence to be analyzed. The sheriff has said that DNA could hold the answers to some of the questions we've been asking. This investigation into 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's suspected kidnapping has moved people from across Arizona to join the search.
If there's 2 people, if there's 20 people, we're searching.
Community organized search parties spent Sunday morning pulling items from brush surrounding the Catalina foothills, hoping something they find will point to a suspect in her disappearance. But the Pima County Sheriff's Department tells private search parties, quote, "This work is best left to the professionals. There have been no signs of Guthrie." According to
the problem is we see no professionals out there in the field. So Pima County Sheriff, if you want people to keep it to the professionals, then I suggest you take the professionals and put them out there in the field so the people see them working. When the people don't see people out there in the desert searching, well, they take it upon themselves to do the search because you're not doing it.
Pima County Sheriff's Department, Guthrie's doorbell camera was disconnected from the home at 1:47 that morning. The camera is still missing, but the FBI recovered video recorded around that time showing a masked, armed man tampering with it. This video of the unidentified suspect remains some of the strongest.
That does look like a swollen hand. I'm sorry. It looks like a swollen right hand.
Evidence in the case. Investigators are trying to identify the man based on what he was wearing, including the backpack sold exclusively at Walmart. Sheriff Chris Nanos isn't ruling out the possibility that more than one suspect is involved. Nanos still won't say how the suspect or suspects entered Guthrie's home, but he
well, you know what? The comment does kind of go like it doesn't take, what did I say? It's no hair off my ass. Well, don't worry. I guess all the hair had fallen off a long time ago. It's no longer hairy. It's like a baby butt. It is the one part that does not see the sunshine. I'm just saying. Not playing.
Previously told reporters the scene inside was concerning. He never elaborated further, but we
Is it TMI? Is it TMI to say it probably has some potholes in it like this in the moon? Oh, Betty, that's TMI. That's TMI. Peach fuzz.
Belonging to someone other than Guthrie or anyone close to her was found inside. Nano says the DNA could belong to a suspect, but it was found mixed, so it has to be separated and then analyzed. Investigators are looking into genetic genealogy to help identify the person it belongs to. We also know another black glove was found during the volunteer search party, but it's still unclear if any of the gloves that have been found over the past 3 weeks have been fully linked to this investigation. Sheriff Nano says that
that's a good question. You know, we got the one, listen, what do you guys think about it being the restaurant worker, having a glove that matched a restaurant worker and then them going back to a Mexican restaurant to interrogate? This is how rumors get started, folks. I just want to remind you, this is how rumors get started. Next thing you know, I'm going to have a hairy ass. Okay? I'm just saying it doesn't take no hair off the ass. I don't even know what I say, but you know, you guys get it. Things just pop out of my mouth across the Ohio River from Evansville to Newburgh, Indiana. I actually have a friend that lives in Evansville, believe it or not. I'm not sure, you know. Do you guys believe that if Nancy let me ask you guys this. What does this say? I'm in Kentucky, born and raised, and it says just across from Ohio, from Evansville and Newburgh, Indiana. Yeah, I do know if somebody set it up. So people are still believing Tommaso set it up. But I also believe if Tommaso set it up, we would have had some type of digital link to that. I mean, you can't, this day, I truly don't believe that there is unless you are a computer whiz. I don't think there's true anonymity out there online. I don't believe there's true anonymity for any of us unless we are completely unplugged from society. Like people that live out in the mountains and stuff that have no phone, no nothing, no cars, no nothing, no credit cards, no nothing. Okay? I mean, unless you're off, I just don't believe in today's society we are untraceable. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I believe everybody is trackable. I believe that we need to be looking at who is trackable that wasn't trackable during that time frame in that area. Who went offline? Maybe they need to be doing this in reverse. Who went offline? Who was in the area and went offline during this time? Who was in the area and maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, all these times never went offline before, but this day, between these hours and this hours, they were offline. Who were those people? I think if we start looking at it that way, we might be into something. But we're going to get back to JLR's statements. Apparently, somebody has some statements.
Continue to come in. This case won't go cold. In Tucson, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Genetic genealogy is one of the newest tools investigators have used to crack cases.
We already know about genetic genealogy. Let me make sure that we don't have anything else going in here. Hold on here. Let's see what this has to say.
5,000 people alive or dead across Mexico. She said the next phase will be a ground search looking for any sign of Guthrie's remains.
Many people say, why are you searching for the dead? We search for people alive or dead. We have to make visible that there is an absence.
As the search for Guthrie continues, Mexican authorities deny she's in Mexico.
It's negative. This was verified directly with the FBI. There's no line of investigation pointing to Sonora.
So this is Mexican officials saying she's not over the border. She's not over the border. All right, so you guys get it. The search for Nancy Guthrie continues. This is a very confusing case. We are going to go back to this reporting here in just a little bit. But before we do, I want to get over here. Somebody had brought up that there was this interview. So this is about as close to that interview as we're going to get. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
Dying, so. Hello.
How much longer are you guys sticking around?
Tonight?
No. Are you riding this out?
We're here.
Nice.
I'm here through the weekend at least.
No, I live here, so I'm not going anywhere. I just retired from the sheriff's office. That's why they hooked up with me. I've been with them like every day for the last.
Used to work for the sheriff's department?
I did, yeah.
Get a chair. Come on in.
I'm parked right there. I got to go, but I'll give you my card if you want.
Yeah.
Here,
Hey, you know 857 Tucson? Are you local here?
I am local, yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen some of the stuff you guys have been putting out. Yeah.
So like, are you speaking about the sheriff's department within, or?
Oh, I have, yeah.
So
I haven't been
like critical of them, or?
Oh, of course.
Critical of the sheriff's department.
Yeah. Wow.
So what's just real quick, like 2 minutes of your time. What your whole assessment about the situation, the investigation, botched?
Not really.
No.
Things like this happen. My personal opinion is I think she
not
was
a
dead
botched
before she
case,
left the house, which is horrible to say, but I think whatever they were planning, I think it was targeted.
Hold on. He said something that I think we just might confirm what we've been saying. Hold on, let's listen to this.
What your whole assessment about the situation, the investigation, botched?
Not really.
No.
Things like this happen. My personal opinion is I think she was dead before she left the house, which is horrible to say, but
boom. This has been our number one assessment. I will tell you that here for Bullhorn Betty and Bullhorn Betty channel. If you don't believe me, you can go back to the original. I have stated on, and I have said this from the very beginning. I believe she was dead or dying on her way out of the house. Okay. So hearing again, another professional, because again, we're average Joes here. Now I do have, a legal background. I did work for attorneys. I've done investigations, not homicide investigations for the law firm, but I was part of our discovery. So it's all asking the same types of questions to derive different answers and stuff like that. But the questions that I asked for civil cases would be similar to the same types of questions that I would ask for homicide cases. So, or missing person cases, you really only have, what, when, why, where, how, right? So those are the types of questions that you are always looking at no matter what investigation you are in. So hearing this, as an average Joe, just taking the information we have and trying to analyze it and figure out what has happened, and then hearing people kind of concur with some of the findings, especially when they're professionals and have done this their whole life, it does make you feel like, you understand these things, you are getting it, you're thinking these things properly, you're following the information through. It just helps us know that we're on the right track. And so I like hearing this. He also concurs with me that I believe she was dead or dying on her way out of the house. And I've also stated that I thought this was a hit because it was either the hit or the sexual assault, because I can't figure out why this person would go in there or spend 41 minutes at this property in the middle of the night.
I think whatever they were planning, I think it was targeted. Whatever they were planning, something went wrong inside, and even if they just even tied her up and laid her down, she'll be dead in a minute or two, and they won't realize that. They'll think, I could put this woman in handcuffs and she'll be fine for days on end. Old people die very and that's why I think they were inside so long, coming up with a plan to get her out, get her in a car, and beat feet. As far as the investigation goes, the first thing I thought when I heard it was she just walked away. And I think that's probably what the deputies thought, because that happens. If you're here, it happens all the time. I've done dozens. I've retired for 30 years, so there's nothing I haven't done or seen. And even in this neighborhood, we found, people walk away and find them 2 weeks later. They're in a wash under a bridge or something. So that was my initial thought.
Wow.
Then when the blood, some of the other stuff started popping up, like, okay, and they still had the scene. I don't know how much longer they should have kept it. Probably a little bit, because they came back so many times. But that being said, when you find more information, well, maybe you come back. So botched, I don't think so. I think the guys on the ground probably did a real good job.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know. And as
No, you don't know what you don't know. He pulled a sheriff snuggle struggles. I disagree. Maybe he's partial to the guys he used to work with. I disagree. The mat, the vacuuming of that front area for trace, that should have all been done. We didn't know what we were looking at. We did not know that the person could have been masked. We didn't know how he got into the house. We didn't know how he left the house. We didn't know where Nancy Guthrie was. So no, I'm not agreeing 100%. Everybody agrees that this house should have been, even him. He's trying to be kind about it, which I respect that. He's part of the blue wall, and they take care of their own, and he is critical in part, but not critical of the people doing the work. I have to be critical of the people doing the work on this particular matter, because the mat should have been picked up. The front area should have been vacuumed. Trace evidence should have been had. There were none. I just want an explanation on why. Right? And we have a lot of people in chat, and I'm going to be reaching out and preparing and drafting a letter to the Pima County Sheriff and sending it to the Public Information Officer of three main questions that I think that they would be able to answer. And I put it out last night, and I'm going to put it out again this morning, because we have 651 people in the chat. If you have a question, I'm going to field these questions. I'm only going to send 3. So everybody gets at least one question. Don't send me a whole list of questions. You figure out what question you want asked, and send me an email at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and I'm going to pick the best 3 questions out of all the questions that are sent. And we'll do this. We're not going to just do this one time. We'll do it again. But I just want 3 questions to see if we can get a response from the sheriff or the public information officer about some critical questions. Now, I'm going to be focusing on questions that I think that they will have the ability to answer. So when you guys are asking questions like questions that go to the integrity of the investigation, I may choose to take a question I might might have an answer, might get an answer back versus one that I know they're going to say this goes to the integrity of the investigation and I cannot answer. So if you have any questions, don't put them in the chat here. Send them to me by email because I can't pay attention to this chat. Send it to me by email at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. There's my email right there. If you have a question, you get one bite at the apple for the question. We'll do this again, but only send me one question. If you have 15 questions, go through your 15 questions and find the one you really want answered. There's no guarantee that they're going to answer any of these questions, but I would like to put the best questions we can get answered from them and present them to them to see if maybe they'll give us a little insight or answer a few questions that we can relay to our audience. So if you would like to do that, again, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd greatly appreciate help with the questions, but if I don't get any emails, I'll create my own 3 questions. But I figured, we are a group, and so I wanted to give you guys the first bite at the apple at the questions. I'd rather ask your questions than my questions. So if you have any particular questions you have, he hates nanos. Good. Well, I don't really care so much, the real Emily. I really don't care so much about this sheriff anymore now that I've identified him as being kind of like Sheriff Snuggle Struggles in Sumner County. And, the incompetence and the fact that they're so arrogant they won't get out of their own way. It's very frustrating and it's exhausting. So, we're not really speaking very highly of him either. And I hate that. I would love to be like a J.D. Huff. J.D. Huff is in, Fruitland, Idaho. He's a police chief. He was, hands down. I absolutely have nothing bad to say about that chief. He handled the case, Michael Monkey Vaughn's case. He kept stuff close to the chest while keeping us informed. He never gave up. He never quit searching. And now we have one of 4 people in trial right now for his life, for taking this 5-year-old boy's life. And this truly was a stranger danger situation. So when we see law enforcement that do good jobs, we give them kudos. We don't criticize them too much and we don't tear them down. And we definitely don't try to take their job. There's only very few sheriffs in this country. We go after their job. And one of them is Sheriff Snuggle Struggles, Eric Craddock. One is Hawkins County. We've been trying to get him. I don't know why the people in Hawkins County are so stupid that they don't know to fire their sheriff. And I have to say that. I love the people of Hawkins County, but damn, how stupid can you be? He is the most corrupt politician you have. And you can't fire him after all these years? They need a new sheriff if they're ever going to get Summer Wells' case solved. And they keep dicking around with Ronnie Lawson. Ronnie Lawson needs to be fired. Eric Craddock needs to be fired. And quite frankly, Chris Nanos needs to be fired. So we've got sheriffs around this country that are not doing their job. And they're hindering and hurting real people. It's just sad. All right, getting back to this.
Cops, we can't just take stuff for the sake of taking it, so to speak. You can't just put bubble wrap around the house for a year unless the family said so. Now that could have changed it because no one's living there, and that could have been a conversation. Hey, we don't know what's going on. We want to keep this pristine. That probably should have happened. Where I think the sheriff failed was everything with the FBI early on.
Like coordination?
Yeah.
Coordination
with the FBI. Contacted super early, brought in to help. They've got so many more people, so many more resources, so many more little technological gadgets and things like that. And then you've got instead of 3 people investigating it, 300, like it turned into. So
a lot of people in my chat feel like there needs to be proof that she returned home from the night, when she went out and stuff like that. Sheriff saying, she came home. Sheriff should the sheriff be believed if the department says she returned home that night?
I would, yeah. I think she probably did.
I believe she did.
Simply because this is...
I believe and I believe it's verified. I really do, because This is even in Arizona. All those people have those Ring doorbell cameras and other cameras. And here's the kicker: in Tommaso, and people are looking at Nancy's house. Well, Tommaso and Annie, they live a lot closer to their neighbors. Their houses aren't as set back on their lot, so when you're driving down the road, you can see their houses a lot better. So I have to believe that they are cleared, especially with bringing mom home, just by the video evidence that they have from them leaving in the car, driving over there. I'm believing all that stuff, that digital trail from all those cameras are showing that nothing happened. I really believe that that's what we're going to see. That's why they were able to clear Annie and Tommaso, is the digital evidence. The same things that convict us also clear us, folks. So let's not forget that. Okay? And quite frankly, they might even have him pulling up into the driveway and getting her out of the car, for all we know.
This is so unordinary. This is not like anything I've ever seen. This is made for TV
Try telling
shit.
You guys that.
That never happens in real life. Whenever something like this happens, a one-off, like when Isabel Sellis went missing, for the first week, I'm like, nah, this is the family, because dudes just don't kidnap unknown kids. Just like this doesn't
were you
happen.
around for Zasha Pickett? Did you ever hear that case in the 86?
No, I was still,
okay.
Yeah, I was still,
Anyway,
yeah.
She was kidnapped from her bedroom, too.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff cleared the family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Asinine move.
It is?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's no suspect yet. You don't know who did it. So to clear anyone, you can't do that in an investigation.
Oh, so interesting. So this retired guy says foolish. Sheriff is foolish. Absolutely foolish for clearing the family. You guys have been, I'm kind of, if the sheriff's, because listen, my experience, even though we're not specifically from Arizona, we've covered a lot of cases. We've had a lot of sheriffs come and tell us people are cleared. I can go through the list. Okay. Let's go back to J.D. Huff, Police Chief J.D. Huff. Oh, thank you. Let them 66. We appreciate you. Good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. He cleared Tyler and Brandy Neal, the mom and dad, in the Michael Monkey Vaughn case. It gets better. It gets better. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Emily. We appreciate it. But he cleared both mom and dad, okay? And remember the Idaho 4. The sheriff out there cleared like all their friends, all the people in that house. They did that very early, before they even had the identity of Brian Kohberger, before they even started identifying the white Elantra. They started clearing those folks. And guess what? None of those folks. So every time we've had an experience, especially here of late, every time a sheriff has cleared an individual, guess what? Whether it's foolish or not, they have truly been cleared. So I know you guys are like, boom, boom, boom. I get it. we still have positive experience on officers clearing people. And I just laid out multiple examples of that. Okay. So, and there's always going to be more. Like, this is going to be another example that we're going to use in the future, where we said, well, listen, this sheriff cleared the siblings and all their spouses, and guess what? It wasn't the sibling or their spouses. So this is going to be another example we're going to use the next time an officer clears somebody with what we believe is prematurely, because we have all of this examples of where law enforcement has cleared individuals with what we perceived as premature, and they truly were cleared. So we need to also log that, so we're educating our audience that, you know, we may think law enforcement doesn't know what they're doing, but look at all these examples of where they have cleared individuals and they truly were cleared. I think we need to start, when we hear law enforcement clearing people, we need to start listening to them. Whether, you know, other law enforcement think it's premature or not, sometimes when you don't have anything and you know that there's nothing there, what do? You can't keep allowing people to have their lives upended when they're struggling, especially when it's family members or people very close to the investigation that are very emotional about this. You can really push somebody over the edge, and not in a good way, like, self-harm way. And we've got to be careful, because social media has the ability to push somebody too far. And I try to caution people about this real threat. Okay, so we've got to be careful. If we want to accuse people, it's fine, but make sure you're doing it in chat. Make sure you're not reaching out to these people on their social medias or pushing them over the edge, because you don't know what happened. Look at how many changes have happened in this case so far. We've got to be careful. And I'm not telling you guys not to accuse people, but remember, that's why many of us content creators have open chats for dialogue, so you guys can express yourself, get this stuff off your chest without going and disrupting people's lives and families and accusing them and being out in public and screaming at them and stuff like that. Right? So we don't want to go real life. I think it's very important that we constantly educate our audience on not going real life and keeping it clean in the chats. Do you think that Tommaso is the murder suspect? You think it, right? Up until somebody's arrested for the crime, who are we to tell you you're wrong? None of us know. If we had a crystal ball, the person would be behind bars. Let's face it. So nobody's wrong in all of this. I mean, we have different opinions, and we may disagree a little bit, but in all fairness, who's right, who's wrong? None of us really know. Okay, so that's where we're at. So thank you, Let Them 66. It gets better. So let's keep listening here on this and see where it goes from here. Let's see what this guy has to say.
Think about this. Think about in 6 months if they find out a family member did it. How is the county attorney or the U.S. attorney going to prosecute that? This dude right here said, I didn't do it, and now you're saying I did? So that's why you don't do that. I get why he, in a vacuum, wanted to take pressure off of him because of all the...
Politics.
Yeah.
Politics. It comes down to politics.
I don't politics. I told you.
I think it was... His fatal flaw is, his emotions. You've seen that. And he saw them, all the internet sleuths saying, oh, it's the son-in-law.
You know what? If they're talking about that sheriff and his emotion, good gracious, I have never seen a sheriff. It's like, get your shit together, dude. I'm sorry. If I had a sheriff that was that emotional when crime happened, you don't need to be sheriff. You're too emotional for me. I need somebody with balls and backbones. Again, balls and backbones are on the ballot for 2026 and 2028. Balls and backbones.
It's a son-in-law, and he wanted to have them stop for nice reasons. I don't doubt that, but it was a horrible investigative tactic. Should have never done that.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. What's your name?
It's Bob Krieger.
Bob.
Yeah.
You used to work for Pima County Sheriff's?
Used to, yeah.
Wait, what?
I was a lieutenant when I retired.
Lieutenant?
Yeah. SWAT commander for 20 years. On the SWAT team for 25 years. 5 of those as commander.
A lot of people in our chat feel the speculation is some sort of parasocial person obsessed with Savannah and taking it.
That's what I think it was.
You do?
I do think it was a stalker of some.
So it sounds like a lot of law enforcement pundits and stuff are really taking rise to this unknown stalker assailant of Savannah. So this might actually turn out to be former Pima County Sheriff's Office Bob Krieger. Did I say that right? Am I saying that right? Krieger? Well, we definitely appreciate anybody's service out there. We love people talking frankly and keeping us informed and their perspective. Was this case botched? This guy, he's being fairly frank. He's being, he says no. So maybe we're being ultra critical. Maybe we need to quit being so critical according to, he didn't say it like that. I don't want to, but maybe we're being a little too critical of Pima County Sheriff. I don't think we are. But, Bob does, potentially.
A stalker, yeah. About a month before all this happened, I don't remember if it was local news or national news, did a little article, a little thing on Savannah Guthrie. And I was watching, like, I had no idea she was from Tucson.
Just bringing the mix.
Really? I had no idea. And they just did, and it was just a nice thing. Like, hey, local girl made good. They talked about her going to U of A. And my theory is that someone who loves watching Law and Order and Criminal Minds and all this shit is just a little off their rocker. Said, oh, Savannah Guthrie, I can get away with it.
I just want to point. This is gonna be awful. You guys are gonna laugh at me. Delilah, what are you doing? Get out of there. I noticed that he has sleeve tattoos on the right side. I'm just saying. I'm just I thought I'd bring that up. Well, while somebody's screaming Bob for Pima County Sheriff, I'm like, he's got tattoos on the right hand. He's got tattoos on the right hand. I need to stop. Thank you, Bob, for your service. We appreciate you speaking frank with us.
I know to wear gloves, and I've watched enough TV shows that I can go and kidnap this woman and try and get some money out of it. And I truly think that that's what, not necessarily the news article, but for whatever reason,
everybody's
someone,
like,
a stalker-ish type person is one who got it.
Now, real quick,
do we have a ring? Do you have? Why are you covering your hands there, Bob? Why you looking awfully sus there, Bob? Did you just shave your face, Bob? I mean, we're just wondering over here. I'm just joking again. Is his hand swollen? Do you have a right hand swollen problem, Bob? I'm just asking for a few hundred people. That's all.
Catch him.
Is looking at that surveillance photo. You're from Tucson.
Yeah.
And I know body language, right? And that body language does not seem like, and I'm obviously stereotyping in lots of ways, but to me it looks like more of a I hate to say it, a gangster walk.
It looks like a local. It looks like just a typical dude from South T coming up to do this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So they're saying it looks like a local, not opposed to it being from somebody from South Tucson that's coming up here to do this. And it looks like, what is it, 857 Tucson kind of has a theory that bodes with that. And this officer just supported some of that. Hey, medic, I know we got a few people coming in. It's nice to see you. Come on in. I hope you guys are doing well today. We're just going over some things. As many of you guys know, the sheriff has made some alarming statements, such as he believes they know why this assailant did it, but that it feels targeted, but they don't know this guy could strike again. Some very, very terrifying language for the citizens of the Catalina foothills on the outskirts of Tucson, Arizona. And then we're hearing that, this person looks thuggish. And I guess we could theoretically, say that this guy moved like a thug. I mean, because I'm comparing him to a thug. I'm comparing him to Luke Daly. And when Luke walked in, I got to say, Luke had a little bit of a walk. There was one spot where he walked where this guy turned around and stepped, and I'm like, man, that does look a little bit like that step we just see Luke make. JLR is 6 foot. No, JLR is not 6 foot. JLR is, I think 5'10", 5'11", maybe. He's about, now maybe, I'm 5'1". He's not a whole foot taller than me, so I think he's 5'11", 5'10", 5'11". I don't know. I'll have to look at it. I can't remember.
South T.
So that's,
what's crazy though? A woman literally, she said, she literally came up and said South Tucson. She said 16th and Irvington. She swears she saw the guy. She said she gave the information. She's at a bus stop with the same backpack. I mean, that's what she says.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
Well, and I say South because that's typically, or you have more violent crimes down there. It's lower socioeconomic, so there's more crime down there. Yeah.
So if it was a stalker, how do you catch the perp? Like, how would they do it? How did they do it?
It's going to come down to, I hope that there's more electronic evidence they're not telling us about. I'm certain there is. If they got that video off the front, there's going to be more.
That's what we've been saying. Our common sense leads us to believe that if they were able to get XYZ, that there's more, there has to be more there. I think we all kind of feel like that is a true statement. We all kind of feel like we know, because Pima County You know what the problem is that the sheriff has way too much information. This is what I think's happening. And you guys can sleeve tattoos are normal. Loving the chat though. Why I wanted y'all to watch this. Oh, we appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is good stuff. Thank you for that. Thank you. But you know, we're looking at this this case. We're feeling like this is somebody from around there. We feel like this is personal. We feel like it's not personal. We're who was it that said this case is bipolar? Like, that is it. I think that's the best description we can call this case is bipolar. I mean, even the statements from the sheriff are bipolar. And I think what's happening here with the sheriff, he has so much information. He knows this case and he lets things leak. He's a leaker. And so he unintentionally leaks crap when he talks to people. And then he has to walk that back because that wasn't supposed to be out. And then he creates this confusion. Is this true? Is this not true? And now we're in this confused state, which is actually working for the case because everybody's so fucking confused. Nobody knows what's up or down or whether to scratch their watch or wind their ass. I'm just saying. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel.
It's either through DNA or it's through the dummy speaking up. That's how we catch 80-90% of our bad guys. They speak up, they talk to somebody. He'll be drunk at a bar with Bob. And say, hey,
maybe he'll come on.
Did this. As long as they're quiet, we don't catch the smart ones.
Why no vehicle?
Oh, there's a vehicle involved. I guarantee it.
But why not on surveillance? Like
cameras.
Yeah.
They just don't have it anymore around here? Or?
No, there are very few cameras like intersection.
I think they know what the car is. I think for whatever reason they're trying to find the person, and I think they're scared they're going to spook the person. But sometimes when you're searching, sometimes you need to spook the person, right? Because when you start closing in, or you theoretically make them think you're closing in, they start making a lot of mistakes. At least that's been what we've seen in history. Not all of them, but the majority of them, when they start getting anxious, they start getting worried, they start getting scared. They don't think they're being watched just yet. And they start making some very, very huge mistakes. They start trying to get rid of their car. They start taking their car to get it cleaned out. They start doing some stupid stuff that's really, really obvious. And it might not be obvious to the investigators right then and there, but when they finally attach to that subject, they can see all of these weird behaviors that came after they started talking about this stuff. And then they start going back to the history and realizing, oh my gosh, this person had unnatural attention to Savannah, or unnatural attention to Nancy, or, has been really watching every twist and turn of this case, and, is doing searches to try to cover up evidence. So now you're starting to get really, so maybe we don't know the mistakes that they're having, but when you shake that tree, eventually when you come across the person, you start seeing all these things in their data evidence. And so that's what I think that they should start trying to do, is maybe start rattling some trees, start coming out with some stuff that will make somebody think that they got them, and start making them make some of these mistakes, some obvious mistakes. We need somebody to make some obvious mistakes so we can snatch them up and get them. At least that's my opinion. Is it going to be that easy? Probably not.
Cameras, like every intersection has ADOT cameras, but it's not tracking stuff. We don't have red light cameras anymore. The ADOT cameras aren't super clear. They're more just, the blue car.
They have people out in Arizona so convinced, just manipulated, just out of common sense in Arizona. What is wrong with you guys? Lights, cameras, everything that's keeping you guys protected. When crap happens, when a homicide is committed against you or your family, how the hell do you expect law enforcement to do their job? How? I am just shocked. This would not be allowed in my community. Come here, baby. Come on, come. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. Oh, the cute little baby. Oh, the cute little baby wavy. Oh, the cute little baby wavy. Hi, honey. Hi, precious. Hi, precious. She's on her little girly thing, so she's being awfully lovey. She just wants to be pet, and she ain't feeling good. She's quampy. Thank goodness she's not bitchy, but she's quippy. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, little girl. Bye-bye. So let's get through this so we can get on our day. Today is her day. We have a standing play date every Saturday.
Car hit the red car, and you can see that.
I got you.
And you can make things out.
Go lay down.
You gotta know what car you're looking for too. You know?
Yeah.
I want to bring up, because a lot of similarities, even though we have an 84-year-old, but do you remember the Holly Gasso case?
He doesn't remember any of these
cases.
cases.
From Suntran Bus. She was last seen on Suntran Bus 2023, downtown Tucson. She was kidnapped.
This is the problem I will tell you that we found with law enforcement. There are so many crimes law enforcement doesn't even know. When we were, when Olivia and I went to Sullivan County, to Kingsport, Tennessee, to cover Layla Santinello, which wasn't getting any attention. A mom had an adult daughter. She was kind of out there with the substances and disappeared, and her mother was sick. And long story short, we got involved in this case that wasn't getting any attention. Olivia went in there and I went in there and got the case viral so it could get some attention. And it did. Where was I going with this? I forgot where I went through too much. Hold on, let me just listen to this real quick.
What was it?
Oh yeah, and so we get up to a hotel, and there's an officer there, and so we were going up there to talk to him about Layla Santinello. Now, mind you, this case has gone viral. This has got all this stuff all over. This is months later. Everybody should know everything, and then we were looking for Holland Snap. And Holland Snap came like 3 months after her. And we were in a parking lot and go up to an officer to talk to him. And he had no clue about either one of these kids. These kids had been missing for a month. It had been all over the news. And here we have a Sullivan, it wasn't even a Sullivan, I think it was a Kingsport police officer in a parking lot at a drug hotel, nonetheless, because that's where we were searching, right? Because of the history of the victim. And this officer literally had no clue that this girl had been missing or was missing or has a bolo out on her or anything related to Holland Snap either. It was just, it is amazing how many law enforcement officers that are out there on the streets don't even know that they're looking for missing people. That is a failure. That is a failure. And this happens all over the country. And this even happens in the police departments that I like, right? It's all over. People are just, so this is a prime example. It's not that this guy should know everything, but this is in his community. And you got a private citizen more in tuned in law enforcement than a decorated officer.
She was kidnapped from Suntran Bus. She was last seen on Suntran Bus 2023, downtown Tucson. She was kidnapped.
Yeah, I know. I am too.
And she's not the one who went to North Carolina, was she?
No.
Okay.
No. If you look up Holly Gasso,
I'll look that one up. Yeah.
She was abducted, and I ended up.
He seems like a nice
FOIA
guy.
Request to find out what happened. What? Well, they ended up finding her on Marsh Station Road out there on Vail.
Okay.
And the perps put her on with no clothes on the train tracks and let the train run over her. And the sheriff is not, and that's still an open case. She was abducted from Tucson. The last time she was seen on Suntran Bus. I post about it about 3 times a week.
This is what bothers me. People, I'm going to get past this because it doesn't sound like the guy knows anything about it.
Similar story to for a week. I mean, so that's what I was telling. On the weekends, everybody's going out doing their fun exploring. Yeah. It could be that someone finds Nancy.
That's what's going to probably happen. If I had to bet, they'll find her body out west of 3 Points or going down south.
West Point, 3 Points. I don't know who's out there. Has anybody been into that area? Let's listen to this again. Hold on. I want to get some areas.
Yeah. It could be that someone finds Nancy.
That's what's going to probably happen. If I had to bet, they'll find her body out west of 3 Points or going down south.
By what? Just a random person hiking? Not by tip that leads law enforcement there?
Do you remember Linda Watson?
No.
So she was...
older, though. It's older.
Yeah, that's about 15, 20 years. Her husband was a fireman. He was convicted for killing her and then ultimately killing her mom as well. And it was like about 17 years
west
after
of 3 Point.
The incident, she went missing, never
West of 3 Point. If we have anybody that's out in that area that's doing searches, we're hearing he just said something west of 3 Point going south. So west of 3 Point. If that's where, I mean, it's worth a shot to search. If there's searchers out there, I would be west of 3 Points. I don't know what that means. I'm sure if I was out there, I would know what that means. But I don't. I live in WNC. The Cajun Navy was a huge help through Helene. Yeah, was it the Cajun Navy or the United Cajun Navy? Because we've got two competing navies, Cajun Navies, and Cajun Navy 2016 is the original. And the United Cajun Navy stole their story and nonprofit, their organization, off the back of the authentic and original Cajun Navy. So I'm very, very cognizant of the two competing outfits, but I also have spoken to the creators of Cajun Navy 2016 during Sebastian Rogers a couple years ago, and they expressed to me and showed me all the evidence that they are the original, and it's because of their timing of filing. When they open their Facebook group, it shows right in proximity of Katrina, where the United Cajun Navy does not. You can see the filing of the Cajun Navy 2016 for their nonprofit, and it's in conjunction with 3 Point is an intersection. Thank you, Wheezy. I appreciate that. That was good. And so I just want to make sure that we're identifying the right Cajun Navy. If it's the United Cajun Navy and they're doing good, that's fine. But when I did my research on it, it was very clear that they stole the history of Cajun Navy 2016, and they are two separate nonprofits. So because of my knowledge of that, I explain that every time. I hope the United Cajun Navy is as good as the Cajun Navy, but people, they keep mixing up the two, and it's pissing me off, because the original is Cajun Navy 2016. Go to Facebook and look it up. I promise you, if you type United Cajun Navy in and Cajun Navy 2016, you will find two separate Facebook pages. Go look at the creation of one page and the creation of the other page. If you talk to Cajun Navy 2016, they will express to you these people are not affiliated with them or their organization. So they don't know who the United Cajun Navy is. However, they stole their history. They're using their history as their own. I don't like that. That's fraudulent to me. It's fraudulent to me. People are donating money to United Cajun Navy's nonprofit, thinking that they're the Cajun Navy 2016. They're hijacking the money that Cajun Navy 2016 should be getting. That's what they did. So I don't know how you feel about that, but that feels awfully slimy to me. And because it feels awfully slimy to me, I really don't have very much respect for the United Cajun Navy. So I felt that I needed to express that.
Found, and he went way west of Silver Bell Mine, and well, we happened to be following him in an airplane. It was intentional because he got close to the body, like went out there almost to visit it and then left, went out and did a search, and that's how we ended up finding her.
Okay, yeah.
And so these things, if something like that doesn't happen, bodies are a dime a dozen out there.
Wow.
But what about these two guys that they scooped up and did SWAT and put the names? I mean, probable cause. I mean,
Well, they weren't arrested. I would tell us that was very typical of a case. Like, if SWAT's hitting a house, we're gonna grab onto everybody and hold on to them, and
but
put them in
we don't know
handcuffs.
what they got them on. I mean, just
Yeah, but they still have to have probable cause, and that's what I think JLR is talking to this officer about. You got to understand, officers do not know the law. They are educated on code and stuff on how to look it up, to find out, and sometimes they don't even look it up. But I will be honest with you. You'll find that law enforcement are very ignorant to real law. I mean, I had to argue with the Sumner County Sheriff over a public easement. They had no earthly idea that there's such thing as called a public easement on every single human being's property in Sumner County. You had to explain them, how the hell do you think they put wires and electric under your yards and give you internet? I mean, do you think, how do you think that happens? It's just, anyways, So you'll find out that law enforcement, they know how to do their job. They're trained on how to fill out forms. They're trained on certain laws, but they are not legal experts by any stretch of the imagination. And that's why a lot of people sue law enforcement, because they violate the law unintentionally, but they violate the law. And you got to remember, ignorance to the law is not a defense.
Limit this really small probable cause can trigger all that SWAT stuff and everything like that. Really?
Oh yeah. Probable cause is an incredibly low threshold in the court size. Oh yeah.
It's lower than preponderance of the evidence and reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's below 50%.
Yeah.
So like if I said you did this,
yeah,
and he was a cop, he could literally arrest you for it right now.
Told ya.
Just because.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean it's going to be prosecuted.
Exactly.
That's
part.
Everybody doesn't realize that, and I told you, with a lot of the charges I did, it was fights. All it had to be, it didn't have to be true. All it had to be is an affidavit saying I did something wrong, and they arrest you. And so there's a lot of that going on, and people don't understand probable cause. And until they understand probable cause, they don't realize how easy it is to arrest a citizen. However, it's much harder to prosecute them. You can arrest people very easily. However, prosecuting for the charge, on the other hand, that's a different story, because you have to have evidence of the crime to prosecute somebody, not just a statement. And a statement is good enough to arrest, but not good enough to convict.
It's like, oh, now, but the problem, like when you arrest somebody, all the clocks start ticking, initial appearances, all those things happen. And that's why you wait to arrest somebody.
Or probable cause if a law enforcement witnesses something, right?
Yeah. Doesn't mean you did it. It means I have enough to hold you for a while.
Doesn't mean you did it, but it means I have enough to arrest you.
This been taped off, like when it happened?
Yeah, it was for a while. But at some point, you got to open it up. It is what it is. That's why I don't think, of all the things to criticize, that's kind of like low on my list.
Who do you think's going to solve this first? Or who do you think, what agencies do you think is going to find this? The FBI or the...
It'll probably be us.
It'll be you guys.
Only because we'll get the call when someone finds the body. Having the FBI, though, exponentially helps.
So he's pro FBI. I think all of us are pro FBI, in a situation like this. So, but again, it comes down to, what did he just say? Who's going to ultimately, it's going to be a citizen that calls the sheriff's office. So again, it comes full circle back around. I get so frustrated when we have law enforcement pushing the public out of these cases, because at the end of the day, they are not solving these cases without the public, and we're not solving this case without the law enforcement. So this is where we are unified, right? And law enforcement try to act like we are not. But let's just bring it back to reality, and yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, guys, we're about to wrap this up.
You think they'll catch the perp before the finding the body?
No.
You don't think so?
And here's an interesting...
Not like IGG or anything to track them down? Nothing.
Yeah. We're in Catalina foothills, but you know how close Tucson is, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know how bad crime is here. I cover it, so I listen to the scanner, I hear all you guys and everything. And not one...
I hear a helicopter in the back.
About anything. And then also Mark Kelly showing up, too.
That was weird.
You know what I mean? That's why
Mark Kelly.
For him to show up, I didn't understand that.
No.
Yeah.
And Savannah getting the call, from him first. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. We don't waste your time. You've been talking to News Nation?
Yeah.
See you on News Nation?
Oh, yeah. I haven't been out, but I was doing the weekend with Brian every Saturday for like 3 weeks in a row. We did the Q&A. People would call in. And
they kind of asking the same questions we've been asking?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like we're just like we're YouTubers and we're out here.
That inside view is kind of cool,
I would love
that's what they like.
I could pick your brain for hours, dude.
Yeah.
Like literally, I could just say, hey, let's talk.
If you want my info,
let me get your info.
I don't have a card, but just write it, throw it in your phone real quick.
Here, listen. Can you just call your number? Yeah. And then I'm JLR, and just we'll communicate and stuff like that. Maybe I'll pick your brain with a question or two or something. Off record.
If you look into that Holly Dasso case too, because that one I think it's very similar in how everything went silent. And
666. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice start.
Yeah.
All right.
Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, because our audience we're just like addicted to this, and we want. But I want the law enforcement, particular Pima County perspective, from former deputies and things like that. And I've spoken to some.
Yeah.
You know, to try to understand this whole thing. And so you think they got to find the body?
Yeah.
They're not going to find the perp for the body?
Probably not, unless the DNA comes back and he's in a system somewhere. That's the thing with DNA. It's cool if they got it, but it's got to match somebody.
So you think it could be multiple too? Like, I know a lot of people are thinking Carol, but me personally, I'm thinking burglary gone Brianna Whitney.
No.
She came with a source though from FBI Phoenix that said that, and I know Nanos denied it right away. So we're like, okay.
Like I said, I think there were at least 2 people here that night. 2 people. Dude on the camera and dude in the car waiting. You don't do this by yourself.
Exactly.
But I don't think it wasn't a home invasion. I've done probably hundreds of those, and those are way more violent, and they're focused, and there was
home invaders don't really do grandmas, right?
No, They want.
Okay, home invaders usually want money and drugs.
They want shit. They want either money or drugs. They're not going to kidnap you. The cartel's not going to kidnap you for $1 million.
I try telling you guys that I don't know much about cartels because we see those what are those people from Venezuela? They're Hispanic descent, but they're part of they're a very violent. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Oh, hey, I see you. It's nice to see you. But they're very violent. Trende Aragua people, they're violent. Like, I would believe that they would disappear a body, but it's usually it's not typically grandmas, but we can't put that past them because they've done things to children and underage teenagers and stuff like that. We've seen the capability of this place. Oh, 857 Tucson, it's nice to see you. Welcome. Thank you for your coverage. By the way. So I don't know. There are some people that are out there. So I don't know cartels, but as far as mafioso and like bikers and thugs like that, I mean, I have experience with them, and I'm telling you, they ain't ganking grandmas. Okay, they're just not. Welcome though. Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Nothing for what they do. There are no cartel ties. I don't care what anybody says.
There's no cartel. You're ruling out cartel.
I would put my pension on that, my retirement on that. Yeah.
So he doesn't believe it's cartel.
That publicity.
So maybe that needs to come off. Maybe we do need to look at a loan or a conspiracy type of thing here. It doesn't sound like these people are within arm's length of this family. There's still a lot of pundits that think this is an inside job. So I think we need to balance our conversation points from an inside job and as well as, the potentially it being this lone or group of people that targeted Nancy for whatever reason, whether it's because of Savannah or not. And trying to determine what is in that pocket. Is it a jammer or is it a walkie-talkie? If we believe it's a walkie-talkie, folks, we're looking at a group of people, at least another person. If we believe it's a signal jammer, well, he might have been acting by himself. We really don't know. He's not done. Keep going. Okay. Okay. The real Emily. She's like, nope. Keep going. Not done yet. Okay. We're going.
What about a local, I don't want to say, a local group, local group. You know what I mean?
That's why I think there's too much that if ever a local hoodlum, they would just show up like the 3 of us. Mm-hmm. Hey, I've watched people, a kid got killed up in Catalina about 5 or 6 years ago by his buddies.
We appreciate it.
And they just showed up like this, and they planned to kill him. It was like, they're not, there was too much planning for what went on at the front door, for it to just be some of those guys.
Yeah.
What about a South American burglary ring? Those South American transnational burglary rings?
Chilean.
Possible, yes.
Probable,
but we might get struck by lightning.
Okay, so he's saying it's possible, but we might. Okay, I get it. He's saying it's possible, but we might get struck by lightning. So I'm going to take it as he probably isn't bought into the whole it being a burglary or robbery ring. And again, this is just his perspective. Okay, this officer here, Bob, he doesn't have a crystal ball either. They're all sitting around. Throwing perspectives on the table, seeing what works. And that's the name of the game. I get so frustrated when I hear people say, don't speculate. What do you think law enforcement is doing behind the scenes when they've got nothing? You think they're saying, oh, let's talk about facts. No, they're looking at the facts and they're trying to determine what those facts mean to them. And like we had, this woman was in the house. We looked at, what did we say when we first started this case? Why would this woman be ripped out of her house? We have to look at all the theories that remove this woman from her home. Because in typical burglaries and robberies, if there's an altercation and somebody loses their life, that person is dead, drops dead right where they're at, and that's where they stay. This whole thing of removing her out of the house is the most perplexing, but it says a lot. And it says a lot about the assailant. But what? That's what we're trying to find out. Let's keep going.
That, but it doesn't fit that MO.
No, again, they want money. They want things. None of this shit that's gone on equates to that. Burglars want as little bit of everyone here has fucked up the burglars in this neighborhood for the last 40 days because they commit that crime at 10 o'clock in the morning when you're at work.
Yeah.
They don't show up at 1 in the morning and try and sneak in.
Don't forget that cryptic thing that one guy said yesterday. If they're coming during the day, if somebody's coming to burglarize your house during the day, they want your stuff. If they're coming at night, they want you. That I will never, ever, ever forget. The rest of my life here in the true crime genre. I will never forget that statement. That statement will always resonate with me, and it will always send chills up my back when I say it. If they're coming during the day, they're coming for your stuff. If they're coming at night, they're coming for you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So thought is that night, people say, okay, she got in here, they came in.
It is the root of all evils. Yes, ma'am.
They saw her leave at 8:30 and they were here already for hours. And I also heard, and this isn't confirmed, that she had a safe inside. And so then, how do you get into a safe?
You gotta get a combination. You gotta talk.
And who has it?
You gotta wait for the owner.
So to me,
is there a safe? Do we not think of a safe?
They saw her leave, and now they're like, "Hey, this house is empty." Hit it then, and then waited for her to come home to get the safe code.
Possible.
Because that's my burglary gone. Because Brianna Whitney, she did come with, and that was an FBI source that she had, and she's the. Anyway, I don't want to. I know you spend more time than we were hoping. So
what type of work you do now?
I'm officially retired.
You're just retired.
I was
living the life.
Supposed to be a flight attendant. I
Really?
actually started my training.
He looks too young to be retired. So he came into the force really young. This is another person that was probably squeezed out of that department, probably a good law enforcement officer that was squeezed out of that department to be replaced with somebody that doesn't have the qualifications or the experience that this man possesses. And it's such a sad thing because why do these people retire? They're retiring because they don't like the morale or the leadership of their department. Here in Manatee County, we have a lot of law enforcement that have been here 20, 30, 40 years, guys. They did not retire. Why? Because they are family. They are welcome. They have good morale and they have good leadership here in Manatee County. And that's what makes law enforcement so good, is that leadership. And when you have lack of leadership, you have people that have good good history and a lot of qualifications leaving a department. And I think would Bob have left this department if Probably not. He looks young. He looks like he still loves the job. I mean, I've always heard once you are part of military or law enforcement, it's hard to go back. It's hard to do anything else because of the love of the job, the love of the camaraderie, the blue wall, the work, the community impact and stuff like that. People that love their community, and that's just all there is to it.
12 days after I retired, I was going to work for Southwest, and I was supposed to be giving drinks and all this right now out.
I like Southwest Airlines. That's my favorite.
They ruined my computer.
The company is why I did it, but
I do like them.
Personal stuff happened. My first week of training, my sister passed away, so I had to step away because you couldn't miss any time in the training. They've been awesome. They're offering it up to me, but right now,
bless his family.
I've been doing this full time for the last month.
Really? Like this?
Well, usually interviews. I've been on podcasts. I've been on every network. I'm a Zoom master now.
Zoom?
Yeah.
What do you think of this Aaron Cross? Are you friends with Aaron?
Very close.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
we talked to him to running for sheriff since he said he won't?
I'm not going to run for sheriff. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
You're gonna run for sheriff?
Fuck no.
No.
I was asked years ago, and I said no then. And
why? If you're an officer, Bob, I hope you're listening to Bullhorn Betty. Let me just give you a little something to gnaw on a little bit, okay? If you do not like the direction of this law enforcement body that you've learned to love for so long, why would you not step up to the plate to guide those people better? Somebody that has left a department because of politics or because of infighting in their sheriff's department, why would they not step up to the plate to try to run for sheriff? Why would they not want to? This guy here, Bob here, probably knows all the bad of the department. He probably knows exactly what needs to be fixed to get that department functioning well and to bring some of those older retired law enforcement back to the county department. We need law enforcement. We can't keep beating up our law enforcement and then calling 911 when we need their help, right? Because for all the people that wanted to defund, this is why we don't defund our police departments. It's not because of the tickets and the low-level bull crap. It's for this. It's for when somebody goes missing. Those resources are needed for something like this. This is very expensive stuff. When somebody goes missing, it's a lot of money and a lot of resources that go into finding that person. And when you have mismanagement, it could really cause problems. We're watching it. Now, maybe he didn't botch the case, but it was poorly managed at the very minimum. And again, that's for Bob's opinion that this is not a botched case. I'm not there, so my opinion is based upon other people there, and they're saying this could have been done better. We'll leave it at that. Let's keep going.
Politics about the running side appeals to me.
Yeah.
Running an agency and fixing this agency, that appeals to me.
Do you think this agency needs to be fixed?
Yes.
It's needed to be fixed for about 20 years.
What's 5 major issues?
Chris Nanos.
How did I know
that? Oh my gosh. How in the world did I know that? This is the first time I'm watching this. This is the first time I'm watching this, folks. So I just want to let you know, I did not watch this before this, and I had an idea. I was just being sarcastic. I thought he was going to come up with 5 things, and I was just being funny and sarcastic, and then come to find out he just mimicked exactly what Bullhorn Betty said. I did not mean for that to happen, but hey, when you know, baby. When you know, okay? Chris Nanos seems to be the issue. Too much responsibility, too much people looking for the bad and not the good they do. People will come after him. I believe they will. I think he ruined his reputation on this, and he should have. I think he could have salvaged his reputation, I'm speaking of Sheriff Chris Nanos, is if he turned this case over to the FBI. I think if he had done that, he could have salvaged whatever reputation he has, but now it's kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid. We know he's poor. We know he stepped in his own way. We know he's trying to be the hero in this case, and he's looking like a zero. We don't have the palate for this type of policing. We want these cases solved, not sitting on a shelf for 20 years. And that's at the end of the day. That's for everybody. That's how we want these things done. We don't care what walk of life you come from, what your financial background is. If you are injured or killed by an assailant, we want justice for you, and we want that assailant behind bars. We want the animal to pay for whatever he did to you and your family. That's what most of us here in the true crime genre expect and want. And we're going to be working for that. So.
That being said, it has been inbred. What you see now has been going on for decades. It's now just so common. And so that has created such a morale issue. Like, I used to love...
Told you morale was an issue.
Good Old Boys Network. It is. And you can only get ahead if you kiss the ring. And
if anybody knows anything about Bullhorn Betty, I do not kiss the ring. What I do is I try to take that ring from you and pass it on down, okay? Because you don't need that ring. Precious, I'm a little precious. Right? That's what some of these sheriffs act like, you know? And I feel like that's it. I know I'm being sarcastic here, but you guys know. My precious.
And when you choose not to, you get assignments like me and Aaron had for the last 3 or 4 years.
Which was what?
Aaron actually came and worked for me.
I was talking about Bob. Talking about the sheriff.
He got his first punishment assignment. That was mine.
Sorry, Emily.
Then I ended up at CNA for a while, and then my last year I was at the jail, just sitting there watching.
We've been hearing about the jail. Like, he's sending people to anyone that's critical of the sheriff gets sent to the jail.
Yeah. So me and Heather, our offices were across from each other.
Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds, but you know, he's like he seems like he's been kind of aloof since he's been out of the department, to be honest with you. It kind of sounds like he doesn't know what he wants to truly do in his new life. He's retired, but now what? I mean, he's still a young guy. Look at him. He's still a young guy. What the hell? This guy's not going to be sitting on his couch twiddling his thumbs for the next 30 or 40 years until he meets the grave. I mean, he's a young guy. He needs to get out there and find something, but he seems like he's a little aloof. When it comes to, you know, jobs since the force. Maybe he needs to move to another force. Maybe he needs to get I'm sorry, from what I hear, when you're an officer, once you have it in your blood, when once it bites you, once the badge bites you, you're kind of hooked, line, and sinker into the biz. I mean, it's hard to get away from the biz. The only thing I can say is I don't see this guy being a CNA or a freaking a person on a plane. He needs to open his own business. He needs to go into security or something like that, because law enforcement just doesn't do well. Law enforcement people just don't do well doing normal stuff. They have to do. They're just a different breed of person, and I just don't see being a line person, you know, on I can't remember what he called it, airport person. I don't remember what they're called. My brain is going blank. It's short-circuiting on me.
Leads to why people are leaving, the attrition, the lack of experience, all of those things.
Turnover.
If people don't leave police jobs for money, because $1 an hour to go work for Old Valley, that's not life-changing. They leave because of leadership.
Yep, told you.
They leave because they don't feel like they're a part of something.
That's it. They need to be a part of something. They're just a different breed.
I'm hoping this most recent Nanos blow up about him literally lying under oath. Yeah. People don't forget about that, and I know that the Board of Supervisors is going to start looking into it very seriously.
So what can the Board of Supervisors do?
So, they can ask him to retire.
He's retiring. Okay, let me just if anybody's worried about whether Nanos is retiring, he's going to be forced retired. There's one thing I can tell you. I'm not perfect on a lot of things, but I know people. I know people, and I know people's tolerance. That is one thing I can tell you, is I know people and I know people's tolerance. And this right here is hitting close to home. This is Pima County that has a lot of wealthy people, and you just had a woman ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, and you can't tell this community who did that or where they're at. Okay? You just lost your job, dude. Okay? Because people are putting themselves, I'm telling you, I'm putting myself in this lady's shoes, and I'm in Florida. I can't imagine the people that this is their backyard. This would be very, very scary for me. And if you know anything about when I get scared, I get angry and I do something about it. Nobody is going to make me feel in fear of my safety. And I hope people out there in Arizona get that backbone to say, you're not going to make me fear living where I live. It's time to do something different. This woman didn't have a chance, but we do. This is a wake-up call for this community. I hope they take it. I really do. I hope this never happens to anybody again. But if they keep doing the same thing over and over again, they're going to get the same results. That is the definition of insanity. Just to put it out there.
If he doesn't, they can start going down investigative roads. There are statutes out there. It's tough to get an elected official removed, but
they're going to be voted out. They're not going to be able to remove him.
Background, that's going to open up some depth.
It's not. It's a clerical error. I looked at it. I'm very astute in politics. Okay, I strategize with politics. I do a lot of stuff with politics. I don't think it's going to be enough to get him to be forced retired. It was 2 minor issues related to 2 years of service. It's not enough.
Definite avenues for them.
Can he, are you afraid that he will retaliate against you? Or can he? Is there anything he can do to retaliate?
Can't do anything against me now.
Yeah.
I think he wants to.
I can tell you, I don't think anybody, and I hope everybody takes this as a lesson. Don't let anybody retaliate. Don't let it affect you. If somebody wants to retaliate, be a duck. Let it roll off. It's hard, but as you learn to let it roll. Let it roll. Let it roll.
It is pension. And so
but he's got it.
So if he gets fired, he would lose that if he gets fired.
But if he retires, if he just says, I'm done, I get to keep everything. And
it's not like that for the sheriff. Okay, he is a voted officer. He's a politician. He's voted. He's not going to be able to be removed very easily, and they're not going to have time. It's going to take. They're going to be able to vote him out quicker than they're going to be able to remove him. Again, I've done this a long time. This is something that I absolutely have expert opinions on, and I don't think this sheriff is going to be removed forcibly. It's up to the people to vote him out, and whether he's fired by being voted out or not, he keeps his commission, or keeps his retirement, he keeps everything, because he's not an employee. I mean, he's an employee, but he's a voted employee. He's a politician. So as you know anything about politicians, they get to keep everything. They get to screw up your community. They get to mismanage all your money, and then they get to be rewarded by keeping all the money you've given them. So that's the reality of being a politician. That's why so many people like being politicians and really don't care whether they do a good or bad job. Just saying.
That offer will be on the table.
Yeah.
So if you disappear right now, you keep everything, because
doesn't work like
part
that.
of our pension for PSP.
I bet you Jonathan knows that, because you see him, he's not getting into that conversation because he doesn't want to tell this guy he's wrong. But I know even Jonathan knows that this is not accurate.
If you're convicted of a felony, you lose that. You get your money back that you put in, but everything for the rest of your life, you're done. You don't.
Yeah.
Get that.
So some of that is going to come down to just, hey, I need.
Maybe if you're an employee, this is the sheriff. It doesn't work that way.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's doing, but
it seems like people are also digging in on him.
Yeah, they are digging in.
Resume in El Paso, and apparently had disciplinary problems and gambling stuff.
Gambling, shots fired, excessive
Woo!
force. I wouldn't if one of those things happened, I would push to have that person removed from the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
To have all that happen to in 4 years, that's unheard of. That's insane.
And do you think, and I know we're taking a lot of your time, but
fine.
you know how the political machine works, and Nanos has been one of those guys that's whatever the locals say, but also, and when we had a million people come up from Mexico and they were in the hotels and all that thing, and Nanos basically helped it, right?
Yeah, he just kind of stood back and
and so I think a lot of
he's
it,
one of them.
comes down to why he does it is politics.
He ran the agency with one priority: to get reelected. Not for the safety of the community, not for the safety of Pima County.
Told you this safety of this community is in peril. I told you a lot of the stuff this guy's saying we've already said weeks ago.
To get reelected. So he would sit back and say, "Oh, it's okay that these people are coming up."
Yeah.
I wrote a grant once. and I got like $100,000 to buy equipment for the SWAT team from a congressional grant. But I had put in there, some of it was going to be used towards border security. It's like, take that out. Like, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, why? We have 138 miles of border, and we'd like to secure it. I'm not saying we're going to go tackle illegals coming across the border, because I could give a shit less about that down there. But there's a lot of stuff that revolves around that. So I'm done. I'm not writing this grant anymore. You guys can do what you want with it. And so basically, they gave away $100,000.
Wow.
Because of 2 words that were politically a hot button.
Well,
so yeah, you got to have priorities in
I'm not
law
going to go too deep into
enforcement.
that, but I think a lot of his whole career is basically on appeasing the mayor and the cabal of Adelita Hall.
So if you're in this area, fire them all. Fire them all.
Raul Gujalva.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's basically helped the cartel expand, because it was always look the other way.
Tie in our hands,
look, and I mean, not saying you guys wouldn't go after him, but it wasn't a priority.
Yeah.
So well,
fascinating
you're awesome,
conversation.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Law enforcement perspective. Pretty cool.
Good luck with it. Hopefully this gets solved at some point. Not real
optimistic here.
Yeah.
You think this could go on
Not real optimistic. That's that's definitely not what we want to hear.
for a while?
Years.
Wow, 20 years, folks.
It's the same thing with the Holly Dasso, you know, and they not, and that's why I was parallel is they just stopped sending out information when they didn't.
Yeah.
And it was like, so then I'm like, why wouldn't they tell the public that this person might be out here and did this?
Yeah.
And so I know there's part of it that's strategy, but
and that's like, there's certain things that like I'm fine with them not releasing stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's we as the public, you don't have a right to know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if I were there. I'd let you know it's going to help the investigation, and I'm never going to put anything out that's going to hurt it. You know, and that might make media mad and the public mad, but that's just because I'm only advocating for the family.
Yeah.
It's all about the victim and the family, nobody else. I don't care who's mad at me, gets mad over that, and if you do, that's a you problem.
The last question, and maybe we got more.
I got one more.
Yeah.
How do you, because to me, when this kind of situation, they're going to tell people how they got in the house. Why wouldn't they at this point, maybe not right away, but 40 days in, hey, the guy got in through the back door? Why is that being held out? Like, that's an important piece.
Because if I'm interviewing someone, I'm going to question them in a way that
Yeah, it goes to the integrity of the investigation. And in all fairness, it's all about identifying the right person, because you got to understand, we don't realize people will go to the sheriff's department and say, hey, I did it. Really? How'd you do it? I climbed through the window. Well, you did. What did you do? What other, did you damage anything else? Nope, just the window. Well, it's kind of funny because the window was just fine, but it was the back door that was busted open, right? So we don't think that people would go to the police officers and say, I did it. I know who did it. It's my mom. It's my dad. It's me. I'm the killer, right? But people do that because we have a lot of mental illness in this country, and we have to understand that. So those things have happened. Does that mean it's going to happen in this case? No, maybe not. But they need to have something so when they do identify the killer, they know it's him. Or her, but in this case, it's going to be him.
Them to try and incriminate themselves on something. So the more little stupid details like that, like he got in, who cares how he got in?
Yeah.
That matters when I'm questioning if I have a suspect. Because if I make a comment like, you kicked the door in, he's like, no, I didn't. And you talk about the front door versus the back door versus a broken window versus whatever coming down the chimney. The more they know, the less effective I could be as an investigator when I'm interrogating somebody. And that's why like people think that matters. They got inside. It doesn't matter whether it was forced entry, whether it was not, and I'm not going to say which it was because my people were going to.
They got inside. At the end of the day, they got inside.
That's like kind of their,
so
in their back pocket to use.
We know they got inside somehow.
How do you think the perp got in?
I know there wasn't forced entry.
It wasn't?
So it sounds like, we heard early on that everybody leaves their doors open. Maybe it was a sliding glass door that was left open. Maybe it truly was the back door that they just opened up and walked in. But he knows, he says, I know it wasn't forced entry. So nothing was broken to get inside the house.
You don't think it was forced entry?
Whether the back door was open, whether she opened the door for him because of something they said, or just just an old lady, like not even thinking about it, like, oh, open the door.
Yeah.
Or just forgot to lock it.
Or more likely, I think probably something was left open. And something didn't go right at the front, so they went around back and a slider was open or something.
Do you think Nanos is out? He's gone from this? Do you think he's gone, or is he going to survive this?
He can't survive this.
He can't?
Unfortunately, it's Pima County. He might, but he can't.
I'm telling you, no, he hasn't provided any, even if he solved this case, he's not getting reelected. He's done. He's been sent out to the pasture.
I'll start for the good of the department, more importantly for the good of this community and all of Pima County.
I think everybody's realizing that.
People who supported him a week ago, how do you get behind and say, I support this guy who lied?
Yeah. And that has turned this into a bumbling mess. That's what we're dealing with Eric Craddock. He already lost his election before he got in, before he even had a chance to be sheriff. That's why he doesn't really care about us. We're just going to keep ruining his reputation so he never has an opportunity to ruin another person's life again. And that's what needs to happen with Chris Nanos. Anyways, guys, that's all the time we have for today. It is Delilah's turn. We've been on here for 3 hours. Thank you for all being a part of this. Thank you for making this show very successful this morning. I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything. If you are on the replay crew or you are leaving, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoy the topic of conversations that we're bringing up for us to talk about. Also, if you'd like to subscribe or become a member, that's a great way to help this channel grow. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So thank you for each and every one of you for doing what you do to help support this channel, and more importantly, help support me cover these channels or cover these cases. So have a great day. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless.